Welcome back. It literally seems like we were just here, just with a different background, but this is the last time of the night you'll see me. Welcome to the normally scheduled Saturday overnight live. Uh, I don't know. I mean, ever since I created this show and we've evolved it, it was when the other weekly streams weren't doing shit as far as topics. I would just get on and just start talking.
Yeah.
We still do that every now and then, but there's so much shit that's been loaded during the week that, I mean, by the time we get to Friday or Saturday, it's actually hard to catapult myself into it. But I do find a way. So just so that you guys know, when we do these Saturday overnight live shows, this is the stuff that I'm really, really reaching for as far deep into my skull that I haven't discussed with you guys on a normal basis. So tonight's topics are going to be, for the first time since we've done the musical topic, we are going to have a hip hop reference. We are going to have probably one of the most legendary rap albums ever made in 1992's The Chronic. If you were of age back then, you understood what this genre meant. 1992. I mean, this was I legit memorized this album, explicit and radio versions of the songs. It other than Straight Outta Compton, this was the next one. I mean, obviously Dre was part of that too. This was the one that was on the lips of everyone's mouth. White, black, Mexican, Filipino, Japanese, Korean, didn't matter. You knew the lines to Dre Day. You knew the lines to Let Me Ride. I mean, you knew the lines of this. This was the breakthrough album. So we'll get to that. Comic turning point stories, and this is actually when I'm going to go to my actual phone camera, and then we're going to go over to my Warren magazine section. But tonight's turning point is Warren magazine, not specifically because they're some of my favorite things, but the censorship that they got around and avoided was hilarious, because some of the things that they would do in a comic book, them and along with heavy metal, which we will touch on later on, at a time when comic books were being heavily pressured, these guys went another way. And since they were technically a magazine and the way they were sold, they got around a lot of stuff. And I'm going to actually get up when we get to that point and actually go over there and show you some of the covers and stuff that I have. I have one of these magazines I have is actually 50 years old. It's actually the one that I use, the Executioner. It's from 1973, so it's over 50 years old. So I'm going to show you that one. And then there's a lot of Vampirello on here, but a lot of them painted covers. I collect these things and I bring them into the store. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and review, since we just finished watching Roadhouse. I'm going to give a little bit more in-depth review instead of just the roundtable we had. And then at the end of the night, I'm gonna cringe and do that thing that I've been doing on a weekly basis, and that's open up the chat to the inmates. Who the hell knows where that will lead? So let's hit the chat real quick. I'm going to be fixing the issue. By the way, the new computers so far, this new laptop, I think part of my freezing problems was that laptop. The other half is Cox being a shitty cable service, but I think I have not had to switch internet today. If I do pause, if I do start freezing out, people let me know, and then I will resort to the backup. But so far, so good. Let's knock on wood, and we'll keep it that way. I'm going to work on a Streamlabs issue. By the way, if you want to leave a tip for the show, donate to the show, help us get better equipment, help us, pay for Streamlabs, anything like that, caffeine to keep the general public safety. You can go to streamlabs.com. I have it tied to the top of the chat there. There you go. And right now I'm going to work on Streamlabs so that it makes the ding. So, Brad, if you want to go ahead and introduce, start shaking hands with the chat while I fix this real quick.
Hey, how's it going, Forth? Daniel Martin, how's it going? Spider-Man, how's it going? He was there with us for he and Forth were there with us for the Roadhouse watch party. Dr. Dre and Snoop are supposed to collaborate on another album this year, first time since Doggy Style for a full album. Yeah, when you get to that album, it's like that's probably going to be William. He's probably going to be narrating that pretty single-handedly, because I am not an expert on Dr. Dre's music by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm kind of the fifth wheel on that. Never listened to the Chronic. Obviously, heard some. First rapper I liked was DMX.
Yeah, well, it's a 32-year-old album, so I can understand where a lot of you may not, you know, a lot of you may not, you know, might not be your thing.
Azteca says the Chronic 19 album was a staple of the West Coast G-Funk era. Stranded on Death Row, Lyrical Gang Bang, Let Me Ride, and Dre Day, straight up bangers. Let's see.
All right,
Or for real, it's legendary. RBX is a legend on that album. Well, they all are basically Dog Pound, Lady of Rage. Yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit of a.
What is Fourth saying that the Chronic is not legendary? What's
well, he's probably saying something to you know. I think it's probably this one. Yeah, this one.
You having issues there? There we go. Oh yeah, well yeah, you're a little bit young. I mean, you're barely in your 40s, so yeah, you probably were, you know. But there was, like I said, with DMX, rest in peace. Doctor, like I said, a lot of these guys that came out after '92 wouldn't have even gotten an opportunity, no matter how talented they were. We just weren't, you know, we just weren't there yet. Like I said, we were just years removed from MTV having to fight to get on the air and show the record companies that it wasn't just black folks that was buying the Chronic. Everybody was buying the Chronic. Everybody was rapping to that shit. Everybody. And I grew up in LA, so we had a melting pot of everybody. Everybody in LA, everybody in San Bernardino, everybody in Rialto, Inland Empire, didn't matter where you were at 1992, you were singing that. So we'll get to that. All right. Are you outside again?
Yeah, for the
I can hear.
Yeah, I try to take it outside.
I can hear the birds chirping.
Well, the thing is, like, and these, since we're officially in spring, you know, slightly dealing with some of these gnats coming out.
And wait till the mosquitoes. Never been a big DMX fan. Just, you know, by the time he came around, I'd moved on.
Yeah, I mean DMX. I kind of mainly knew him through, you know, him being in a couple of Jet Li movies. So.
DJ Quick, it came about at a time before all this. So DJ Quick, Slick Rick, a lot of those guys that were big in the mid '80s. Before, like I said, the problem is there was not an outlet to make them as big. And it wasn't until MTV bought in. It wasn't until the Chronic. It wasn't until Straight Outta Compton. It wasn't until a lot of these albums came around and they realized that everyone was listening to them. It wasn't just a genre. Like I said, before MTV, MTV made some mistakes, but they also did a lot really good. And what they did was they overlapped. And because prior to that, like I said, you want to listen to rap, you listen to a R&B or hip hop station, and then barely it was barely on there because it wasn't considered safe music. If you want to listen to rock, you listen to K-Rock, or you listen to it was all segmented, and it still sort of is. But with MTV, like I said, you got introduced to rap. A lot of people, because of the stereotypes, wouldn't let their kids listen to rap, but you couldn't be there all the time. And when you started flipping on MTV, it was right there for you. I mean, it was so convenient. You know, they broke down those walls that, you know, a lot of people's upbringings put up. So yeah, the Chronic was we'll get to that one, but the Chronic was massive. The Chronic was I mean, the amount of albums it sold, and at the time where album sales were, you know, different. We didn't have, we didn't have digital back then, so you bought it if you're getting it, or you were doing a mixtape. But most people were buying it. They were actually buying the tapes. They were buying the records. They were buying, they were buying it. And like I said, they had a different version that would get played on the air. Like, you know, if you listen to Dre Day, the Dre Day that's on MTV and the Dre Day that was being played on the radio was not the one that was top of mind on the album. There was some choice words and things that were mixed around, but that's what they did. That was the compromise, because he got the explicit label on there, and that's what you did if you wanted to get your in fact, you know what, let's just start off with that topic, since I'm pretty much halfway into it. Back when Two Live Crew, I think, was one of the first albums to get that explicit lyrics tag on it, for Me So Horny and all that other stuff. And they thought that would stem the flow of people buying those albums. It actually, most rap groups use that as a badge of honor. I mean, if your album didn't have that sticker on it, it was softcore. It was pretty, it was holding back. So when you had them break through with that, and they got big, Luke Skywalker. I remember when Star Wars was suing him to stop him from using the name Luke Skywalker. But once NWA broke through, Easy and all those guys, like I said, MTV Rap, all that stuff started to break through, and people saw the genre, for what it was, and especially during the time where it was coming from. All these guys are based in, Southern California, the South Central LA. Obviously, if you were around then, what was going on. A lot of the lyrics were, let's say, not LAPD friendly. Literally, when one of your songs is "fuck the police," that's a red flag. But you had to understand what was going on.
I'm sorry, that was so good. That was so perfect.
Oh yeah. You had to understand what was going on in LA at the time. We were having issues with the police. Not all. You had 50,000 cops during the time. Not all of them were bad. A lot of them were doing good work. But the problem is there was certain ones in certain areas that were taking advantage of the gang problem. We had a bad gang problem in the mid to late 80s, especially when crack hit. And a lot of the music from that era was coming from where they were living. When you listen to NWA, when you listen to a lot of the guys that were coming through their era, they were rapping. They were literally straight out of Compton. That's where they were from. So they were rapping and the lyrics, be yourself, all those things. You listen to the lyrics of those and you understand. If you were black and in Southern California at that time, you could relate. Even if you weren't in, most of them were not in gangs. Some people were, some people weren't. But they were around it. The gang situation was prevalent in both San Bernardino County, LA County, LA proper. It was what it was. You did what you could if you weren't involved to stay away from that stuff. But a lot of the rap came from that, and then in the '90s it was really bad because at that point you had Rodney King, you had LAPD, you had the Rampart Division, you had a lot of stuff going on, and then you had the general stereotypes that were going along with it. So there's been a big debate on what you consider as far as a lot of people say, well, that kind of music and that kind of focus put a stereotype on black folks at the time, black folks living in certain areas and in urban areas. And then other people were like, well, that was the way to communicate to let people know what was going on in these communities. So you had that debate going on. But when the Chronic came out, this was as every all NWO starting to branch out and do their own things. And the Chronic was like literally groundbreaking as far as the airplay that it got. Prior to that, I mean, they didn't make a non-explicit version of the album for the masses. They just you just made the album you made, and if it got played, it got played. With the Chronic, it was marketed differently. It was marketed from one side, it was marketed to the mass public in general. It was one of the first albums like that. It wasn't just marketed to black folks. It was marketed to everybody. And in order to do that, there were explicit versions of the song and non-explicit versions of songs. Well, let's bring up the Chronic. Like I said, I mean, a lot of it is going to a lot of people are going to look at this album in retrospect. So you either were there when this stuff was highly influential, or you came afterwards and you see the ground that it laid. All right. The Chronic was an intro. Obviously it is, which if you haven't listened to the album, the Chronic, obviously we're talking about weed. It is what the title entails. So there, I'll let you go. Let Me Ride is one of the best ones on there. Nothing But a G Thing. Nothing But a G Thing was I think it was the first released. It was Nothing But a G Thing. That video got played like everywhere all the time, not just on rap shows. It was played on MTV everywhere you could do. I think BET was was getting big at it, and they played it. I mean, everybody played it. It was the first big hit, and then Dre Day came out. If I can remember correctly, the video for Dre Day, I got to pull it up. He's walking around with a gun. He's literally rapping, and he's got a 9. That was the time. Like right now, you guns, you even mention guns. Like if you're like the guy from Memphis, John Morant, he's right. He's doing a Instagram video with a gun. He gets suspended. Nope, don't do that. 1992, literally, Dre was walking around, with a laser wing. I mean, Dre Day, he has a laser pointed at what was supposed to be easy. That was 1992 for you, though. Rat tat tat tat. Yes, that's what it's about. The Doctor's Office, The Roach, that was the Chronic. Dre Day, which was, like I said, that was the one that really took this album like way up to the sky. These Nuts. Some of these titles, I'm just reading from the titles. Track 8, A Nigger with a Gun. That's the title. The $20 Sack Pyramid. See, the album's called The Chronic, so that's you got to understand that. Stranded on Death Row. That was Death Row Interscope. If you know the history of Death Row and a lot of the inner battles that went through, Suge Knight, all that, that was a nod to. It was a precursor to what would be going on in the mid '90s with all the East Coast rap, West Coast rap stuff, Suge Knight, Puff Daddy Family, all that stuff that really kind of brought a downer on all this. And then track number 16, Bitches Ain't Shit. That's not William. That's Dre. But I wanted to tackle this album quite a while ago, but I just reading these titles, I'm like, But you know what? We can't talk Turning Point without talking about the Chronic. I mean, yeah, I can't shy away from what is arguably one of the most universally revered, releases. You just can't do it. Granted, the titles are a bit offensive. They were offending people back in '92 when it was released. It sure as hell is going to offend people now. But the album, like I said, from one track to another, especially like I said, when you listen to the explicit versions of it, it's like it's. I mean, how many albums did it sell? Because like I said, how many copies did the Chronic sell? All right, that year, so it went on to sell 3 million. Went on to sell 3 million. At the time, that was unheard of. As of 2015, it has sold 5.7 million copies. And let's look at where it's at like now. I mean, like I said, this was one of the best reviewed albums too, because a lot of the magazines at the time, Rolling Stone, none of these cats, none of them wanted to cover rap because it was just too dangerous. It was risky music for them. But this was the one that broke through. Newspapers were giving it positive reviews. All the magazines that wouldn't touch rap, I mean, with it, they did it with a tempo full. They got this, they were on it. All right, as of 2015, so yeah, we're at. So this is 2015. That was 9 years ago. People are still buying the Chronic to this day. So I'm going to assume that we're like at least at 8 or 9 million. But they don't have updated sales. A lot of the guys stopped tracking that because at that point, digital media is more important to them as far as like iTunes and all that. So yeah, it's Chronic, man. I mean, I hate to say you had to be there, but you could still listen to this today. You could be a 15, 16, 17-year-old today, especially if you're living in Southern California, and it still clicks, It's timeless. It's timeless. All right, let's hit the chat. What did you guys think of the Chronic? How many of you were there when it came out? How many of you have listened to it, in retrospect, as somebody who may have not even been born? I mean, if you're anything less than 32 years old, then there's a good chance that you may not have been around when the Chronic came out. So let's hit the chat.
Let's see. Dennis the Menace, Dre and the Super Bowl halftime show last year. Times have changed.
Yep. Because it was in LA the year before, yeah. Because it was in LA. I was in Inglewood. Inglewood was like ground zero for a lot of that shit.
the LA riots definitely provided the background for the Chronic.
Yeah, my prom got moved, and we almost lost grad night. For those of you, I don't know if the grad night's a thing that's a national thing, but for Southern California, grad night was our last thing as seniors that we did together before we graduated, and grad night had to get moved because of because of the riots. Right, where our graduation point and all that was right in 1992, May of 1992, and that's when the riots happened. May, end of May. So we had to have all kinds of shit moved around. And my recruiting center, MEPS, which is where once you recruit, that's where you take your oath, and that's where you fly out of. I had to fly out of San Diego because MEPS in LA, it was in South Central LA, it burned down. They burnt down. The riots the riots is, I know it's not a musical topic, but it gives you a background to what was going on there. The riots fucked up a lot of things for Black folks because the areas that got burnt down were majority Black-owned businesses. The Boys Market in South Central LA was ran, managed, and it employed a lot of Black folks. It burned to the ground, and a lot of Black folks lost their jobs. A lot of small businesses that were in the area that got torched and burnt down, got affected, were owned or were ran by Black folks. Florence and Normandy, which is one of the busier interstate intersections of that area, was turned into a war zone, and a lot of businesses were damaged there. And when we're watching this, and if you're living in California, you recognize these places that are going up in smoke, it didn't hurt. It may have brought the topic to the news. Okay, I can see that, but if you go down to South Central LA, Magic Johnson came in, and it was years afterwards for a good 7, 8, 9 year period. None of that stuff got rebuilt. There was no money going into those areas, in those inner city areas, and they ended up suffering. You had government buildings. You had, like I said, you had the U.S. Army that was there, and a lot of those little businesses relied on the customers that came from a lot of these businesses that were affected. And when Magic came in, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, and he started really building things back up, but nobody else was putting money in there. So it set Black folks back a big, and not just in LA, all the way through, and then it got so bad that when I was in the Nevada National Guard, I'd come back from basic training in a couple of years, and that affected a lot of what happened with the whole OJ situation. We were I was in Vegas at that point, and we were on alert with riot gear ready. Because of that situation was affecting everything. So it changed a lot. And when you look at the backdrop of what the Chronic came out with, that was what you were rapping about. But they were rapping about it before a lot before that happened. NWA was rapping about that before it got to the news. So there you go. I guess you had to be there, but not really. All right, next one.
Larry says, I live in an area where a lot of rappers are from, including 50 and DMC. You mean DMX or DMC? Or my?
I think you're talking about Run DMC.
Oh, okay. LL, I'm assuming Me Cool J used to live across the street from me, and I have a picture with him from when I was like 7. The song 187 for the Deep Cover soundtrack was the precursor for Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre's collaboration with Dominate the Airways in 1991.
187 on Undercover Cop. Boy, that was a cool. That movie was forgettable, but that was Lawrence Fishburne, by the way. But 187 was that's where you realized Snoop Dogg was going to be something special, and that was before all of that. But yeah, and Brooklyn and all that. Yeah, LL Cool J, who's I guess apparently never going to age another fucking second.
Yeah.
I see him now on the damn Geico commercials or on the.
He looks exactly the same as he did in Deep Blue Sea.
Exactly the same. You look at him and he played in NCIS LA. He's all ripped up, and I'm like, dude, I still remember this dude from I Need Love. Back when rap was the Kango hat and the big gold chains, that was LL Cool J, and that bull has not aged. Go look at LL Cool J in 1986 or Mama Said Knock You Out. All that, he's immortal. I'm going to find the tree that put LL Cool J, Shakira, Tom Cruise. I'm going to find the tree, the root, whatever it is, the garden of whatever the hell you guys are, and I'm going to get in there because damn. LL Cool J is LL Cool J is almost 60.
Yeah, I'm going to pull him up real quick.
He may be 60.
He's like 50. He just turned 56 this year.
Yeah, and I guess they invited Mike to the Garden too, because Mike Tyson. Okay, Jake, hey, Jake,
Hey.
if you're watching this, Jake Paul, dude. There are people out there. Who was it? One of the guys, I think it was Rogan. It was Rogan, and then we're like, dude, you need to cancel this fight.
Yeah,
you need to rethink this.
Yeah, I can't fathom this is going to be it's I can't fathom this fight is going to be at like full contact, like we're going until somebody gets knocked out or TKO or no, man.
And Mike actually did a promo on it, and it sounds like it's serious. He said, "I don't have anything. I like you, Jake Paul, but
I'm gonna have to knock your head off."
He's not acting like this is a joke. Is that this is and that's if you're on the other side of Mike, you don't want to hear that. You want to hear, hey, we're gonna go out, we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna throw some punches, we're gonna take some photos and photo ops, and everybody's gonna have a good time, and we're gonna go. You want to hear when he was fighting Roy Jones Jr. That's the Mike you want. You don't want that Mike. That Mike that just cut that promo, that Mike that's bouncing around in the gym right now, you better hope that that guy don't show up.
Yeah,
that guy shows up, I don't care how old he is. You're getting your ass beat.
Well, I'm going to pull something up real quick, kind of related to Tyson, because this gets kind of played as a joke, because of course he plays himself in The Hangover, and they make this big joke out of it. Is this one scene in The Hangover? I'm going to show this everybody real quick to show you how not realistic this is in terms of his punching power.
Yeah, he hits one of them, doesn't he?
Yeah, he slugs Zach Galifianakis. Yeah, here he goes.
Yeah.
Pull it up.
Oh, hit the mute.
Oh, go. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
The mute button. We need the same exact song. It's about to get us knocked out.
Okay, I will. I'll play it mute now. Okay. All right. Here we go.
That's hilarious.
Okay, here it goes. No sound, and here it comes. Bang. Okay, that punch would have killed him right there.
Yeah, if that was real, even if Zach wasn't dead, Zach lost some cognitive.
Yeah, he's like he has at least like 50 fewer active brain cells at that point.
Yeah, he's gonna have some problems spelling his name.
But they play in the movie. It's like a big it's like he's seeing stars kind of thing. It's like that's the least of his worries after that.
Yeah. So, but that's fake. That's a stunt. If Mike gets a full punch on this, and if this is all for real, this isn't gonna be. I don't want to see this. I'm not watching this fight.
This is why we said somebody. I forget who it was who was asking. Are we gonna? What we do? Because it's gonna be it's gonna be like. No. I don't think it was Aaron. It was somebody else. Yeah. No, it wasn't Aaron. Aaron was saying no. No, Aaron said she didn't want to see anybody die on the stream. That's so.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody wanted to watch along. I'm like, why?
Yeah. And we said the same reason. It's like, no, we don't want to be streaming like any snuff film footage here.
Unless this is like they're hyping it up and they're not really, this is just a hype like a wrestling match. Then I'm all right with it. But
yeah, there's got to be more to this than they're telling us, because it's like, man,
for Jake.
Yeah, or end this fight, for God's sake, end this fight before somebody dies.
And the ref's gonna have to be like, okay, and the ref's gonna have to recognize whether this is, if these guys have shifted into a serious mode, and he needs to be the guy to come in there and be like, all right.
Yeah,
I just no.
There's got
All right. So how you doing, Spider-Man? Daniel Martin, what's going on?
He said that, damn Phil Collins.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, it was good. That was so hilarious. Let's see if we're still on the air. Are we still on the air?
It looks. I think we are. We should be okay.
That would be.
I think I got us in time. I think I got. Yeah, I got to us in time. We're okay.
That would be like seriously, we would have to make a meme out of that.
I would fight Mike Tyson when I truly wanted to end it all.
Yeah, I would have some insurance. I would have some. I would have something set up. I would have like, what, this is who I want the money to go to. Yeah, I'm not fucking with that guy.
Yeah.
People are like, well, he's 60 years old. He's not. Yeah. I don't care.
And you're probably bigger than he is, because he's like 5.
Kill me, dude.
He's like, was he like? Yeah,
Yeah,
yours
he's
like
5'10",
6'2", right?
I'm 6'2", and there's just doesn't matter. I would not. I wouldn't take that fight. You know, I mean, I'm like, okay, well, I get paid if I don't get knocked out, then I'm just gonna run. And hope he's not in that kind of condition. Because if he's in cardiovascular running condition, you're out. You just don't sign that contract, man. Don't sign that contract.
I hate the idea of Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul because it makes sport boxing look fake. Yeah, unless it's full content, then you're gonna find out. Then it's gonna if it's full content, you're gonna find out just how real it is.
Okay, but Mike might be out for that same reason. Mike might be out to make if everybody thinking my sport's a joke, that I dedicated my life to the joke. All right, maybe I need to set the record straight. And if he uses Jake Paul's skull to set
it's like a human sacrifice.
You know, if he comes out to send a message to the world, that this sport is not, don't get into this ring unless you mean business type of deal. With Roy Jones and all these other guys, it was different because Roy Jones was a boxer. But Jake Paul is sort of, but he's not on the level that,
He's physically capable of throwing a punch, but again, I've seen the dude fight. I mean, there's just no technique. The dude's not a fighter. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and like
he's got height and reach, and that's what he's got on his side.
I'm like, dude, are you serious about your brain?
No, I'll fight him with a baseball bat.
Yeah, that's like I said, he may be ready for that. He just has a look in his eye, and the training videos I see, it's like that's all I needed to see to be like, yeah, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this.
Maybe we should tease and troll Tyson how fake the fight is. No, because then it's going to not end well.
Well, then Jake Paul's life is in our hands. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I won't be responsible for anything like that. I sadly wasn't. Came out.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you guys are young. Yeah, you guys are way young. You guys weren't born until like the late 90s.
It's a win-win. Everyone make money. Yeah, but it's like I would like to still be.
I want to be able to spend the money though.
Yeah, I want to be alive or have possessing all my faculties to spend the money. So fight him. Black don't crack. Yeah, I saw that. Fight him non-praying. Yeah,
I'm not. Yeah, I just don't want to get hit that hard.
Yeah,
if I don't have to, granted, there might be a situation where you might have to put them up. But if you don't have to get hit that hard, let's not.
Yeah, and again, that Hangover clip. I mean, when he lays one on Zach Galifianakis and Ed Helms has like this one line because it's like you guys stole my tiger, bring it back. And Ed Helms like, I'm just saying, he still got it. It's like, so it's played for laughs. It's like, no, that's a guy who's going to the emergency room after that.
Yeah, don't. How you doing, casual fan? I think this is the first time I've seen you in here. Yeah, don't. Like when they do that disclaimer, don't do this at home, or this is professionals. Well, one of those guys is way more professional than the other. So, yeah. So, it's gonna knock the ghost right out of Jason. This could be, like I said, this could be one of those holy shit moments to where you're like, please move. After you see somebody get hit that hard, you just want to see them move their legs so that that they're alive or that they can still move, that your spinal cord activity is still there. And like I said, if they've agreed that this is just, we're gonna hype this up like it's for real, Mike's putting on the Mad Dog face just to get people to buy the match and all that, then okay, I'm all right. If that's Mike, if that's
Mike,
Mike. If that's the Mike that gave that promo the other day, where he's looking to really to really put some hands on that man, I don't care how accomplished Jake Paul is. His punches are not going to do the same thing to Mike Tyson as Mike Tyson's punches are going to do to them. So any other 58-year-old, you could have picked one out of the hat. You picked the wrong one. Okay, this is not the 58. This is not the senior citizen. This is not a senior citizen. This is a man who is, and he, like I said, it doesn't need to be complete Mike from the 80s and 90s. He only has to be old Mike long enough to connect with you. That's it. He can become the 60-year-old man after he knocks you out, but that little adrenaline rush for as long as this is going to last, I don't really think this is going to last if it's real. if it's not staged.
Oh, God forbid this thing go. No, this thing is not going to go 15 rounds.
I think Michael's going to get inside that body, and Jake Paul is 199 pounds, and not the kind of 205 or 210 pounds that Mike is. And like I said, you just look at him. Him and LL Cool J, they're all hanging out at the Garden of Youth or something like that. That the goblet that was in Indiana Jones, just shouts that's what these all guys, because like I said, Paul Rudd can't hurt you by being immortal. Mike can. Okay. So, like I said, I really hope this is staged, because I don't wish to how you doing, Jimmy?
How's it going, Jim?
I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Like I said, when I watch wrestling and they do these high spots, I'm always like, dude, you're out here to entertain me, but I don't want you to like get permanently injured for me.
The reason Jay chose him is because he's a name and he probably thinks they can take him. Yes, and yes, and to the second one, if that's what he thinks, then he's mistaken. I mean, there's what? I don't know how I can make it any clearer than that.
Just watch these videos. Not like I said, the newer video. The newer ones are scarier than the ones I pulled up a couple weeks ago. The newer ones are driving the point home that this man is still dangerous. This man is still, and once that instinct comes back, that pit bull instinct comes back, even if he's trying to hold back, even if he's playing along and it is at work, all you need to do, sometimes you just go a little bit over. Sometimes it's just rhythm. It's what you've done and how you train, and you don't, this is, the adrenaline gets you, the moment catches you. If the moment catches Mike, Jake's going to catch the moment, and it's going to hurt.
I mean, we just watched a movie where something like that happens, and that's not with Mike Tyson. But so put Mike Tyson in that kind of situation and against an opponent who's not to that level, and it's not going to go well.
Yeah. That old man is dangerous. All right. That old man, like I said, they people show. I remember back when he did the whole ear biting thing, Metro, there was like at least 15 cops there, right? And I will never forget the picture of Mike standing there and all these armed cops just fucking terrified of what this man was going to do to them. They had guns. And they were like this. I'll never forget it. You can pull the picture up.
Let me see if I can find it.
You look at those cops. Metro, shoot first. Metro is, they're like, I don't want no part of this man. He just bit a fool's ear off. What's he going to do to us?
Oh God! Here it is. Oh my God!
Yeah, let's pull that up.
This is hilarious.
Yeah, it was. I was here watching that. That was here in Vegas when that shit happened, and it was like, what?
Look at that! Look at that there.
Yeah, look at all those cops.
Look at that one guy right there. That one guy. They're all like, this is as close as we're going.
Yeah. Every one of those individuals is armed with live rounds and bullets. And look at the looks in their faces right now. All right. Just all those guys are Jake Paul right now. So, yeah, I mean, and he's like I said, if that mindset you see in that picture makes even the slightest return. Oh, my goodness. It's just that, like I said, I mean, I don't hate Jake Paul. I don't hate anybody enough to, and people are thinking they're just trying to think this is like, well, Jake can take him. He's an old man. I'm like I said, telling you, like I said, if Mike plays along, we're okay. But like I said, have you ever done something in your life where the instinct comes back when you're trying to hold back, and it just happens? It's like muscle memory. It's ingrained in your head. And when you're a boxer, it's instinct to be, you have to, or you could get yourself hurt. So when he sees that across the ring, and it's not an old retired guy, it's not Roy, it's not, some of the old exhibition stuff. When he sees this guy who basically is trying to make a name off of him, I think the ghost of old Mike, just for a little bit, is going to come back. And the ghost of old Mike could possibly make a ghost out of current Jake.
Listen to all these puns we're coming up with here, but they're so apt.
And like I said, I just think that people underestimate and don't have the respect of how hard that man can hit you in the head. and your body. Mike, look at that. You look at training video. Mike he just doesn't do. He can knock you out, but he does damage to the body, especially when he gets inside. It's like if you coughing up like a lung or a rib or something like that. And like I said, the ref is going to be the most important part of this whole deal. He's got to understand when the tone, when things have shifted. If they do, like I said, we could most likely come in here and have a bunch of punches, some hard punches, but nothing like real type of deal. This is just an expedition. Exhibition. Yeah, we're fine. And that's that. You go a couple rounds and that's it. It's over. And that's it. We draw. The best thing that can happen for everybody, including the viewing public, it's Jake Paul comes out there and looks good. Mike Tyson goes out there and looks good. Nobody crosses that line, and then you have a draw or you have some kind of goofy decision. That's the best case. That's what needs to happen. What potentially could happen is we start out that way. Jake throws Joe's a little bit harder than he's supposed to. He maybe says some shit that he maybe shouldn't say.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Oh, man, you okay? Or you need some oxygen? Something crazy, something silly. And then that switch is flipped, and we've gone from having some fun to Drago versus Apollo Creed. And like I said, I'm going to be sitting here. I'm not going to watch that, but somebody's going to have to throw it.
It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on YouTube within 5 minutes.
That might be longer than the fight. But good luck, Jake. Good luck.
Good luck. Godspeed.
All right. So, wow. This is a light show tonight because we've pretty much been streaming like all fucking day. And I'm kind of tired, but I still got enough adrenaline left. All right, let's hit the chat again, and then we're going to go into Warren.
Well, a lot of it is just nothing but Jake Paul, Mike Tyson comments. So.
R.I.P. Jake Paul, yeah. Yeah, he is. He's, I think that's Brad.
Oh no, come on, guys.
With the same
song.
Really,
it's like I haven't seen The Hangover in a long time, so I forgot that Phil Collins song was with it. But yeah, that would have been painfully ironic.
If he didn't die from the punch, he would die from the fall. No, yeah, I'm not. I'm gonna have to roll with that punch. Once I know that punch is coming, I'm just gonna have to roll with it the best I can. And I'm not getting up. I'm not getting up.
Casual fans says boxing is dying. It's always politics. It's not best versus best. It's best for the average guy compared to UFC best. Yeah, I've definitely you could definitely sense like MMA is like really kind of a
because you get the fights that are supposed to happen for the most part when they're supposed to happen.
Yeah,
like Lennox Lewis fighting Mike Tyson after it was pretty much over for Mike Tyson, or what's his face, Floyd Mayweather fighting people. He's undefeated, but look who he fought when they fought them. He fought Manny Pacquiao after Manny Pacquiao had taken so many shots. Manny Pacquiao was pretty much done at that level. Oscar De La Hoya, a lot of the guys he fought, in my opinion, had he fought them like if they were at the same level, I don't know if he's undefeated or not. But but a lot of that was deal making. Who got the most money on that? With UFC, it's just Dana White. Everybody's a tip. Everybody fights everybody. It's just. I can see the appeal for UFC.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, Clint. Brad, how's Jake fighting Mike Romani? Well, I mean, there's punching involved in both of them. So, there's definitely
in the corner. It's going to look like that one video where the guy got
his head jacked up against the wall.
So yeah, it's
there's punching, there's striking, and the potential of at least one person dying. So.
And like I said, I mean, I doubt he would die, but it's not going to be good. Like I said, could you imagine if Mike just goes out there and mauls this motherfucker in like less than a minute?
Yeah.
Jake Paul, that dude, he's a meme now. His career as a boxer / influencer type of exhibitionist guy, it's going to take a real big hit. It might take a hit that it can't, that kind of publicity can't, So
that's the other problem too. Is like if you're writing a check that you can't cash on this, then you're, what does that not just what does that do for your like physical well-being, but what does that do for your career? Is MMA equals I'm fighting my
Fight Night Champions. Not on a video game. On a video game, he's fine. He's gonna bite his ear off. You know what? I don't know if that mic was on. I think that mic was in a dark place. Oh, you really don't want that mic.
Yeah. Well, he was in there.
Holyfield mic where he's ripping.
Well, I think Mike he is diagnosed bipolar, isn't he?
Yeah. Boxing, if you knew boxing, especially at that time, guys did bite ears. It wasn't unheard of, and it was usually in response to headbutting. Because if you headbutt him back, you lost a point. Vander Holyfield was very crafty. He was very sneaky. He would come up on you with his body, but he would flat up headbutt you. And if you're boxing, you get headbutted like that. Eventually, you're going to open up cuts above your eye, and it's going to be hard for you to think. He was very strategic, and he would do it. He would do it when when he was coming around with the ref, and that's why Mike was so pissed. That's what led to that. Finally, Mike was like, when they would do the hugging thing, Mike just was biting. He did it a couple of times in the match, but then it was right after Evander Holyfield actually got him, and I thought they were going to call a point in that match, and that was when Mike just lost his mind.
Yeah.
So I remember watching that fight, and I'm like, I didn't know what the hell had happened at first, and I'm like, when they showed where he had spit the piece of the ear out, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Says MMA is a grown man hugging. No, well, I mean, it's like it kind of in the infancy of it. It was because everybody. It was kind of like MMA is grown men hugging for a long time. Well,
there's a lot of striking. No, I would have to disagree. There's a lot more striking. It's not gloves too. It's more there's gloves. Well, they're getting hit.
Well, like in the infancy of it, it was like because everybody was like kind of it was very kind of predicated on grappling arts, and now you've seen like with it being around like every different artist really kind of adapted to the MMA template, so it is really you see a lot of diversity in terms of technique and these days I would say like most fights I see these days is probably about 70-30 punching kicking to grappling.
That's why when they do these exhibitions with we're going to get a boxer and put him in the ring with a MMA guy, I'm like, well, MMA guy can't use his feet. I mean, why would I do that?
Yeah, and then you put the boxer in the octagon, same thing. It's like he's going up against somebody who has a greater breadth of technique at his disposal. So
I'm sorry, Roy, Floyd Mayweather and Conor. If we're fighting and Conor can use his feet, and in his I don't think that lasts too long.
Yeah. That's why Conor lost the fight because he's an MMA guy going to a boxing fight where he's taking like at least half of his capability off the table. So
and it was a lot of money though too. There was a lot of money.
Yeah, there was a lot of money.
I understand why they did it, but I'm like, he knew he wasn't gonna be able. But he still listen. You can say what you want about Conor McGregor, and he can be a vile human being sometimes. But man, is he fun to watch?
Oh yeah,
he's fun to watch.
And in the movie we watched tonight too, where he's playing himself.
I saw too much of Conor McGregor there, but I mean, but there you go.
Yeah. Aztecs
on that note,
too, judges getting worse. Stuff on the UFC you're going to care for him because Dana's not well liked within the organization.
He won't be there forever though.
He's had his own controversy.
He kind of doesn't have as much power. I mean, he used to be the old be all, but now after the
he's kind of in a lot of ways he's kind of going the way that it kind of Vince McMahon has now. But yeah, and also like
for different reasons.
For different reasons, yes, for different reasons. But also like one championship is also really, really coming up. They're the biggest MMA organization in Asia, and they're producing a lot of breakout fighters. They're really actually starting to. It's becoming kind of like a neck and neck. I think in terms of like the
Bellator.
One championship. The Bellator is really big too. But one championship is actually really, really exploding. So I watch that a lot too. So I recommend if you're.
I do not watch. Like I said, I only watch it if I know the name. Like Conor McGregor will get me. I watch Conor McGregor. I watch what's the guy, the undefeated guy that he fought, that he had no business fighting him, and McGregor, the undefeated dude.
Floyd Mayweather.
No. He's undefeated. McGregor.
Let me pull up his record here.
He's undefeated. He's like he's considered the greatest.
Joseph Duffy.
No, he's got what's the dude's name?
Nate Diaz.
No, he beat Nate Diaz. They split.
Was it Dustin Poirier?
No, he's a I'm surprised you don't know this because
No, it's
you're all in it.
well, Khabib. Well, he has a few defeats here. So.
Khabib.
Khabib, yeah,
It.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he
Khabib
had
is
no
awesome.
business in the ring with that guy. But he got in the ring with that guy. He has no fear when it comes to this shit. He's not afraid of losing. He's not afraid of getting beat up. He has no fear. I think he needs to get out of all this and go into WWE or AEW. He'd be great in AEW because Tony Khan would let him he'd do and say whatever he wanted to. I mean, could you imagine? I like I said, dude, Connor, don't take one more punch. Don't take no more real punches. You could make a ton of cash. I don't know how much he makes per fight in MMA, and I know he's got a lot of sponsorships, so it's not like he's not hurting.
Yeah.
But if you just want to have some fun, and it looks like he just wants to have fun at this point,
Yeah.
because now he's in the right arena.
He typed Spider-Man typed this like 5 times there. So.
Yeah, sorry, but I know I could never pronounce the guy's last name.
Well,
what was his name?
Pull it back up here. As because he had a few. Because Connor has 4 defeats or so, or 4 or 5 defeats. So you're like, pull that one up. I had to run through a few. Khabib, everybody just calls him Khabib, but his Nurmagomedov. But yeah, everybody's pretty much just called him Khabib when he's gone up to fight.
And he got in the ring with that guy. But yeah, it's and then you have Amanda Nunes. I know who she is. I watch her fights. But after that, if it's not a big name, I just don't. And as I said, I lost the interest in boxing because, like I said, once the heavyweights started becoming people, once the Klitschko brothers got in there, I'm like, I can't watch you guys, and they would be fighting each other for it. And Tyson Fury and all these when he beat the hell out of Deontay Wilder, I'm like, I paid for that fight. And I'm like, wow, just come on, it was a cheap fight. But yeah, I just not into combat sports as much as I used to be. I grew up watching it because my dad would watch it. I mean, we had HBO, we had Larry Merchant, we had Showtime Sports, we had a whole bunch of every Saturday night. Saturday night was a huge deal. I mean, I grew up with Sugar Ray Leonard, and I know him fighting Roberto when he the No Moss fight. I mean, a lot of it was like, a lot of the lightweight Foxes fights, and then they would have the undercard would be really good, and then you would have the main event. But it just lost its luster for me, man. Especially when the heavyweight division is what drove the money, and that's what was always at the top of the card. Unless it was somebody, Oscar De La Hoya was huge, but he got to the point where there was nobody left for him to fight, and then I don't know, a different sport, but Roadhouse.
Yes, which we watched earlier. Speaking of speaking of the Conor McGregor's career, and like William saying, don't take another punch for real. Take it for bring your showmanship to the another angle of whether it's pro wrestling or action movies, and we just saw him do that this evening with the new Roadhouse.
All right, so my review of this movie, I liked it. I really liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. I wasn't on you guys with the stream a lot because usually we're streaming something that I either don't care about or I've already seen. I hadn't seen this movie. I really wanted to see this movie, and I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed it, more than I enjoyed the first one, the original one. But both of them were products of their time, so I understand that. Fight choreography was 10 out of 10 for me. Choreography
has some awesome fight scenes in it.
Assisted by the camera angles and the filmography of it was great. Jake Gyllenhaal, the way his attitude in this, when he's just brushing off these guys, and when he's when they're trying to be all serious and shit, like, we're gonna kick your ass, we're gonna kill you,
and he's asking how close is the hospital.
Yeah, 5. He's thinking of 5 steps ahead of them. And like I said, I heard what you guys were saying during the show because while I was working on it, there was a lot of he does what a lot of people who are allowed or able to use force do, and that's de-escalate. Even if you have the power to beat the shit out of somebody, shoot somebody, stab somebody, even if you have all the weaponry and all the people around you, you generally learn that the best way out of all these situations is to try to de-escalate. Any force that you have to use, you're trying to make it so that the other people around you are like, okay, we need to not do this, and that's what he was trying to do. So that was textbook. I thought his attitude about things were great. Like I said, I love the fights. It got crazy towards the end there. Like I said, I don't know how, spoiler alert. I don't know how Conor McGregor is alive.
Yeah, with the how the kind of the final fight, which is a very awesome final fight, but you do, as I mentioned on the stream, as I mentioned on the stream, let's just say that for a couple of characters in the Roadhouse remake, for those of you who haven't seen it, you do have to suspend disbelief somewhat that a human body can survive multiple stab wounds to the torso, like as some characters in the movie do.
Or your chest up in that area, and come on, you got arteries and shit there that you're bleeding out, and you're bleeding out like really really soon. You know, it's like, especially when when your heart rate is what their heart rate was, you're bleeding out even quicker. That's the danger there. So, but once again, it's a movie. It was fun. I like the cast. The cast was cool. You had the kid, the bookstore kid was cool. I like the bar owner. I liked the youth sheriff until he actually became useful at the end. But for 90% of the movie, he's absolutely fucking useless. The one guy with the broken arm that he breaks down,
he kind of becomes like the member of the gang who's deferring more to.
He's like, yeah. I had fun. It was fun. I mean, I had fun. I'm pretty sure if I watched it and analyzed it, I could find some flaws in the movie. But I had fun with this movie. It was fun, you know, just to watch. And I would I have gone to see that in the movie theater? I don't think so. And not because I didn't like, but there's just nothing from the trailers that drew me into it like that. But I would watch it if it was a group of people. You know, if it was this, or like, you know, a shitty movie, I'm going to pick this. But, you know, if I would have gone to see this in the movies, I would not have been disappointed, because that's a lot of violence on a big screen like that, especially with the way it was filmed. It's like the shit's coming at you, like, you know, coming at you.
Yeah, a lot of the camera work, again, it's like it's very. They take it in terms of the approach to the camera work on a lot of the action scenes. They take this approach where they're really. They're almost like making you like an active participant in some way, you know, in the fight, where it's like, I mean, Aaron was even talking about, she was actually starting to develop a little bit of motion sickness, because, you know, the camera work, it is a very immersive, you know, it's centering you in a lot of ways. Yeah. Spider-Man dropped like 5 of those. It's really placing you in the shoes of these guys as they're beating each other senseless. And you know, I as some, you know, I mentioned the original was you know, one I was always a big fan of, and this follow up, I think it was a very worthy follow up, and it kind of operates as they kind of operate two sides of the same coin, because Dalton really is the foundation they both work from, and the portrayal of Patrick Swayze's Dalton is that he's he's like a gunslinger with the mind of a Zen master. And Jake Gyllenhaal's Dalton, he's more of a broken man because of, you know, a certain event in his past in his MMA career. Then that's kind of made him into a drifter, and that's why we talked about, like, the first fight scene, why he's so, you know, he's very capable of you know, taking these guys out, you know, very quickly, but and like really doing some serious damage. But, you know, his mindset is very much, he's focused on how do I de-escalate this, and that's why the first fight scene, it's he starts out slapping these guys and says, okay, let's just call it a draw. They won't let it go.
When you see the origin of that, that's why the de-escalation is so important for him, you know, and that made sense. I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah,
what about you?
Yeah. This is this. I made a little joke during the watch where I said balls in your court, Monkey Man, because that's another action movie I'm highly anticipating. And this as far as like fight scenes and just delivering on what I, you know, as a fan, as a moviegoer, like really want to see in a martial arts flick. This just hit everything. It just checked all the boxes. It just hit the bullseye. The final fight between Dalton and Conor McGregor's character Knox is just, I mean, it's just phenomenal. And again, some aspects do require a little bit of like, okay, we're going to let some realism slide for the sake of storytelling here. But yeah, I had an absolute blast with the new Roadhouse. With the kind of the way it ends too, it does seem to tease like, okay, we'll be seeing Jake Gyllenhaal's Dalton Again, it's some point in the near future, and I am very down for that. I love this. I love the new Roadhouse. I think it stands very equally with the first one to me. Again, with the portrayal of Dalton, they both show different sides of him, and they both work very effectively, and they both deliver very effectively on the action you expect from both of them. So I'm
the father in the prison, but he's got to be pissed that his son's dead.
yeah. So, but although it's not by Dalton, well, okay, spoiler.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Should we put the hold on?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, yeah, it's had a blast with the Roadhouse and with the the slight setup, maybe I should say more overt setup at the end. Yeah, I can't wait for Roadhouse 2. So I loved it, absolutely loved it.
All right. Chat, what did you guys think? I know we talked a little bit.
Yes. What do you guys think of it? And for those, and some of you were here for the first watch party, so we've heard some of your thoughts on it. Dan says Roadhouse is pretty fun. Gyllenhaal makes he really I think Jake has done too many in terms of action movies, but he really he put in the work for this. He really he was a very capable lead and very strong Dalton in this. I found, so I would definitely agree. And a pretty fun watch along movie. Yes, I agree. Well, it's kind of like what I said to earlier. William was talking about seeing this in theaters, and there was of course the whole debate with the dispute between Doug Liman and Amazon, because he wanted to go into theaters. They wanted to be a streaming release for Amazon Prime, and with how a lot of the fight scenes are filmed, I got a lot more of a sense of kind of his grievance there, because you could definitely get the impression that he really was aiming for. He wanted this to be. He envisioned this to be shown in like packed theaters with audiences just with those moments of like, oh, that guy really got clocked, and the ooh moments, and people just really being blown away and cheering by the camera work. And so yeah, I there's more context now to where he's coming from, and that again he did have to kind of walk back on that with he was initially going to boycott the South by Southwest premiere, and then ended up attending. And Williams talked about the as far as like this being an Amazon Prime production, this ultimately, in terms of value to them as a business, it serves them better as a streaming release. And I made the comparison on there. William talks a lot about like HBO Max. What they're not doing, what they should be doing, is driving you more towards associated content. With Roadhouse, I mean, you've got that baked into it. You've got the original on Amazon Prime, which was pointed out as we went on the stream. So
not only that, but what HBO Max and WB needed to do is use that as part of the genesis of their decision making. So when you say yes or no to something, or when you say nothing can't, or something can't work, or something doesn't have an audience, you needed to be doing analytics. Amazon and Netflix do those analytics. They know what kind of associated content. And I don't ever get the sense that Max has done that on neither regime, because I guarantee you, if you're looking at the analytics of your data, we're not in the place we are right now. We're probably not having a DCU, because there's nothing in your data analytics probably, until they release the numbers, that says this could be something that associated content, because of you don't have any record of that. So if you're trying to greenlight something, you say, here's the mission. I want something that not only entertains you for what it is, but it opens the door for the other things and keeps you there. As long as you're there, you're going to keep that $16, $17, $18 a month coming at me. If you're doing that times 65 million customers, 75 million customers a month, that starts to add up. And you can't, because of the way the dinosaurs are running things now, they're using metrics that do not apply to the future. They're using, well, if we spend this amount of money, we got to make this back. You can't think like that if you're going to have a streaming service. You just might as well just shut it down. You have to be thinking of what brings for this one thing that we're doing, bring you into 5, 6, 7, or 8 different things. And with Amazon, it's not only that, because they figured that out by having the original Roadhouse out there.
Oh,
demographic.
I absolutely guarantee the original Roadhouse is going to see a massive spike in Prime viewership like this weekend and probably for the next month or so.
And when you sign up to these streaming services, they have enough of your information to know that's all they need. The demographic that tuned into this, they are going to line that up with everything that they can throw at you to get you buying and staying. That's what you want to do as a retailer, to get you to buy or to get you to stay. That's what you want, and that's what all these streamers should do. Is Netflix has mastered it. Yeah, we're going to get you in for Stranger Things, but there's a whole bunch of oddball shit on there that you would have never ever known about or given a chance. Yeah, but we just guided you into it. That's why they don't need to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on advertisement. That's why it doesn't make any sense for Amazon or Netflix to ever put anything in a theater. I don't care if I want to see it on the largest screen possible. You pay for the movie then. Come up with your own production company that is willing to take the hit by putting a movie in a theater versus, I want to sell you a microwave. I want to sell you some socks. I want to sell you some slippers, and I want you on there for the rest of the stuff out there. That's why the Lord of the Rings. Why spent that much money on Lord of the Rings? They spent that much money because for them, that's a drop in the barrel in comparison to all the people that have to come to Amazon to watch it. You have to come to Amazon to watch it. And once you're there, you can best believe that your age, your name, everything that they need to know to sell you shit is going to come through across their algorithm, and they're going to use that. And that's what should be happening across the board. So kudos to Amazon for doing this. Sorry, Doug Lyman. Listen, dude, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm pretty sure, the cavemen thought that, the Neanderthals thought they were the future. And we know that they are not.
I think they're going to
Neanderthal, but it's just like you got to get, you can't be the guy using torches and candles when we got light bulbs.
They're going to mend that relationship. I have a feeling is with the
they will.
The tease this sets up for Roadhouse 2. So they'll unburn that bridge.
Yeah, and they'll have them sign an NDA to shut just stop talking, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will give you a sequel, but you got to shut up. Guess what? Guess where that sequel's going, though? Sequel's going on Amazon. So I mean, so if he's going to have to let go of that, the dinosaur mentality of everything's going to have to go on the big screen if he wants a Roadhouse 2. If he takes that check, that's it. I don't want to hear anything else about that shit. So
but yeah, anybody else got
dinosaurs? I disagree. I wish I had a dinosaur voice to say this one, but I'm pretty sure he'll pop on later. Amazon is already widely known. Roadhouse won't make it spike a dent. With people who want Amazon have it or the ones who don't. Okay, dude. You could have if the Cro-Mags had a language, that's what you would be speaking right now. Of course they fucking care. What do you mean? What are they just doing it for their health? Doesn't matter how known they are. It's how many, even if you know them, how many times do you frequent their site? You could be all in on Amazon Prime. They want you all in more. You could already be a customer. They want you to be a bigger customer. That's how you get rich. That's how you can't think of this from the customer's point of view. They're not the trillionaires. There's a reason why the customers are broke buying this shit, and the people who are selling it to them are far richer than the people that aren't. All right, and if they get a new subscriber on there, that's great. That's another new customer. But they're doing this, 50% of these people, they're doing it for the people that they already got on board. But just because I have you on board, guess what? You came into the Sci-Fi Center. Great. I want you coming back. I want you here 7 days a week. So I do shit to get you back in here with more frequency. Where are you trolling me right now, Forth? This has to be a troll. You just had, I'm gonna write this off. I'm gonna write this off as a troll. William, are you sure Neanderthals have died off looking at political alignments? Yeah. I mean, listen, you can make fun of politicians, but most of them are smarter than us. They're better educated than us. And the majority of people who make fun of politicians, and I'm not naming anybody and nobody here, are too stupid to do the jobs that they're at. The majority of people that I hear taking shots at a politician one way or another are barely hanging on to the what they can do themselves. It's easy to make fun of somebody doing a complex job, no matter what it is, from the safety of the ground. The guy walking the tightrope is walking the tightrope. The guy throwing fruit at him to get him to fall off is at the bottom with no risk. I mean, there are some stupid politicians, but I guarantee you, the percentage of dumb politicians are probably the same percentage as the people at your jobs in your workplace. Whatever percentage you think you have 10, 15%, you think 20% of your politicians are dumb. I promise you, look around your workplace. If you guys, that you're working with, look around. I'm guaranteeing you can find 20% of absolute morons that you're probably working with. And they're running low level shit. So I don't know. How you doing, Droga? Daniel Martin. Okay, you're looking at it from your little monocle, dude. You think Amazon is that? Whoa, I wonder what Fourth thinks about. Oh, we got all these millions and millions and millions of people that are proving us that what we do work. I wonder what Fourth. Not saying that your opinion doesn't mean anything, but when you're trying to assail the methods that they're using, you got to realize they're way more successful than the thought process that you're using to criticize them with. It's working. It's working with Roadhouse. Just because you didn't purchase something doesn't mean a whole bunch of other people aren't going to. They're not doing it by accident. You think Amazon just found money in a park and said, "Wow, we're rich now"? No. Cro-Magnet.
All right, back.
I didn't even know you left. I'm sorry.
Oh, really? I said I'm stepping away for a second.
Oh, I was trying to figure out whether I'm still trying to figure out whether I'm being trolled by Fourth.
As Droga says, Fourth never trolls, which we all,
which is okay.
we can absolutely confirm the veracity of that.
Why? Then don't you know it? Then you know what? Don't make another movie. Amazon will find another director for Roadhouse 2. And for the purposes that they took it over for, it's not a fart in the wind for them. Like I said, I would never want. I don't think I'm capable of being most people, like I said, all of us that take shots at politicians, and I mean, certain companies excluded, obviously, but wouldn't be qualified to do that. And guess what? When you have somebody who's one of us that has never been a politician before, and becomes one, the worst politicians are those people. Like I said, I don't want the guy on the street working on my air conditioner if he's never worked on air conditioners before. It's the same with any job. Let's see. Okay, Fourth, you're trolling me. I might not bring up. Did you just not hear? Are you high right now, Fourth?
He probably is.
Are you messing with me right now?
Well, he left a comment the other night about it's like I wish Catwoman had written Rebel Moon. So, and he's like, "No, I'm dead serious. I totally mean that."
Are you still on some of that on some of those birthday brownies? What's up? I just said that not everybody's going to be a new signee. You want to get more out of the customer that you already have. That's how you get rich. Yeah, growth is great. But retention and growth within the customers that you already have, that's what you want. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Fourth now. He's trolling me right now. I'm just gonna say
Fourth never trolls. That's like saying
you can't be serious right
now. That's like saying this. Fourth never trolls.
Damn.
That's like saying that's like saying the sky is green.
All right, he's on the Fourth sauce. He's got to be. I'm gonna go ahead and chop that up as a troll. When I get you on, I want to see you say this stuff with a straight face instead of just messing with me. All right, so let's go to one of the only few things that are left on the thumbnail, and some of my favorite things to talk about, some of my favorite things to collect, some of my favorite things to sell. Warren magazines. So Warren magazines has been around since I think 1959. I want to say I know I have magazines that go all the way back into the 60s, but they had a collection. Warren Publishing. Oh man, 1969 with Vampirella #1. No, I'm sorry, 1957. So they've been on with 1957. Their founder was James Warren. Vampirella became famous during this run. A lot of the artists that did paint medium became famous during this run. You had Frank Rosetta, Boris Vallejo did some stuff for them. Ken Kelly did some stuff for them. Julie Bell did stuff for them. And for the most part, just about every cover was painted. And the reason why that's so important is because painted covers, Ash Al Ross, he's one of the only ones that can really do it real fast. But painted covers take a while to do. And when you're doing a monthly publication, it was really tough to do. And they were also using, it's a more expensive. It's a more expensive thing. And they were using green when it was really expensive to use green. Green. If you saw green on their covers, they spent the extra money for those covers. And Warren magazines were coming out at a time where comics were, everybody was, taking the safe place when it came to comic books. You had the comic books code. Batman was being neutered into, more or closer to the TV show than, like I said, Woody Willie was. You didn't have a lot of, if you looked at where when you had the 30s and 40s and the World War II era, in the Golden Age, there was a lot of violence there that got kind of pared down. And it affected the sales of those comics. With Warren magazines, the magazine format allowed them to be marketed in a way that was kind of like and next to like a Playboy. Back in the day, your Warren magazines, and if you look at my thumbnail, things like that were sitting right next to like a Playboy or a Penthouse, and they covered just enough up on their covers so that it wasn't so explicit. It was considered a compromise. These are legendary, and like I said, I made it a habit, to try to get some. So what I'm going to do, and like I said, if any of you guys who've seen when we did the tour, I got a wall of these. So for those of you who are new, I'm going to go ahead and disappear from here and chat. Brad, if you can just occupy the chat real quick, I'm going to go ahead and switch to my phone so we can take a look.
Okay, there we go. Let's see, the fourth sauce. Yes, we did the Dr. Dre talk. Right, that was the first topic. So, fortunately, you did miss that, but you just have to go back to the beginning, and that's where we talked about Dr. Dre and the Chronic. Hey, Aaron, Aaron was there for us. We're there with us for the Roadhouse stream. Had a lot of fun with that. Yeah, bummer, unfortunately. Let's see.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
So I don't know if I need to switch the camera around, but I will if we need to. So let's go ahead. Let me just do the settings here because I want you guys to be able to see this a little bit better. Oops. Oops. Sorry about that. Took the wrong guy off.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting on William to come back, I love Roadhouse Day. It was a great movie. Yeah, I dug the shit out of it. I absolutely loved it. Had a blast with the as a fan of the original. It's like, I think these two will stand the test of time side by side very well. JJ for the Raid 3. Yeah. No, man, the dude, the dude can. I think he shows with this. He really knows. He can really carry an action movie, and he really can carry. He put the work in. He got jacked as hell for it. He can really carry himself in in a martial arts role. So yeah, the Raid 3 or the Raid English language remake they've been trying to make for like 10 years.
No more Raid talk. All right, so this is part of my my Warren magazine wall. So the one that we had on the thumbnail, that's this one right here. This one is actually, like I said, this is from October of 1973. One of my favorite ones. I believe this is Frank Frazetta that did this one. And some of these are minimum of, so a lot of these came out in the 80s. And believe it or not, the 80s is 42 years ago. Wow. And this is one of the ones that one of more. So they're painted covers, and they, like I said, the insides for the most part. Let me go ahead and unplug one of these. Not unplug, I take one out. So for the most part, they're black and white. Black and white inside, because it was just cheaper to put them out. It was cheaper to put them out. They spent a lot of money on the covers. So let's take this one down. Hold on. Show you guys what a real one looks like instead of doing the panels on the page. So this is what this is the covers, and this is the artwork that was there. They pushed the limits. They pushed the limits of what they could do and still sell this to young adults and adults. A lot of the people that bought these magazines were over the age of 18. But this was something that this was like a middle ground, but this was not the kind of stuff that you could do at Marvel and DC. And those, at the time that these magazines came out, those were the primary, those were the heavy hitters. Especially after 1968, 1969, when you had Warner Brothers purchasing DC, and it just became just basically fan-friendly or family-friendly type of organization. There wasn't a lot, a lot of what Christopher Reeve's Superman was a byproduct of the vision of what Warner Brothers wanted. They wanted every single one of their characters to be accessible to everybody, until that didn't work anymore. So most of these are, and this is 1980. This is from July 1980, right there. So 42-year-old magazine, still in great condition. I try to get a lot of them that way. There's the ads. There's the kind of things. There's a Star Wars video game. That's what people were playing in 1980. There's your toy ads. Most of these magazines, or whoever was on the cover, was the lead story, but you also had different stories in here as well. You had and then you had letters back before believe it or not, it wasn't all just an email. You sent letters to the writers. But the art in this was really, really good. And like I said, it was almost entirely black and white. In fact, I don't think I have one that is in color. But this is Vampirella. This is Vampirella number 88. And then, like I said, it always had that iconic Warren magazine on there. And then usually in the back, there's an ad for back in 1980. This was right after they released that awful Battlestar 80, which is like, and you could order crazy shit in these. Actually, there's your coffin. You could actually order. There's one in here for a life-size coffin. But whatever the movie of the day was, Alien. So this is 1 year after Alien was released. And this is just what was in these magazines. And you could order all the back issues. A lot of these, after the newsstand started cracking down on things, mail order was a big way that Warren magazines moved. And you could get any back issue now. All these are super high priced now because these magazines are 50 years old. But this is what Warren was really good at. And I'm going to show you the difference between, like, this is one of the this is another one. This is another one. So for those of you who've ever played Magic, if you look at the list of artists that worked on Magic the Gathering, especially during the 90s, Dark Ages. I mean, all that stuff. Third edition, fourth edition. A lot of those painted cards that they did were done by people who worked on these magazines. There you have a Sherlock Holmes one. This wasn't a Warren one, but it was done by like one of the subsidiary companies. And then this is one. Then they started reprinting them. This is Vampirella versus Dracula. If you guys can see that one up there.
Yeah.
That was from 1977. So I was 3 when that one came out. And this one right here, I can't see because I got filing cases. This is one of my favorite ones. This one came out in 1974. The Mummy.
Hmm.
That is legit one of my. This is the second oldest one I have left. Most of the ones I have left currently are in the 1980 era. Now they tried to revive the magazine, and this is what it kind of looked like. And that's it's still cool, but as you can see, the artwork is not the same. It's as it started to wind down. But then you go back to the 70s, you go back, some of that stuff. But this was another magazine that kind of took cues from all this was Heavy Metal, because Heavy Metal came out a little bit later. Heavy Metal was a magazine that, once again, they skirted the rules of selling comics to kids by putting this on, bookstores, places like that. Before there were comic stores, they would sit it next to the adult stuff. But you could still, they wouldn't necessarily cover it up. Like if you bought a Playboy or something, you had that big black, box that, you could see the title Playboy, but you couldn't see the rest of it. What they would do is they would sit these magazines next to a Playboy, but the cover would be there as long as they didn't, so like one of these is explicit. I can't even put that on there, but it's a newer one that they're using to like a copy, but that's direct to adults. You had to mirror order that one. But these right here, is explicit as some of the stuff looks, and as scantily clad as she is, she's covered enough so that legally you could put this on the cover, and that's how they marketed these things. So this was huge, because what ended up happening is as they started cracking down, as censorship became a big thing, a lot of the market left comic book collecting. Comic book collectors lost a lot of their market, and this is where they ended up going. A lot of these guys, a lot of these guys would never come back as far as like buying the paper medium. So that's what propelled things like Warren. That's what propelled things like Heavy Metal. And there's a lot for every one of these Warren magazines. There was a knockoff, that employed like the same people. They weren't Warren magazines, but they employed the same artists, and they had the same format. And they would make it so that their stuff could sit right next to the Warren stuff, which sat right next to the Playboy and all that. And it was a good marketing. It's these sales, and if you notice the decline of Warren and Creepy started to tail in the mid 80s. And the reason why is because comic books in general started, especially with Chris Claremont and Frank Miller's Daredevil and Dark Knight and X-Men associated books, they started going back towards the tone, that was being kind of tailed off and censored in the earlier decades. And a lot of those guys who were collecting before, some of them did come back. And then the new generation, were buying comics more. Comic book stores became more prevalent, whereas these sold predominantly on newsstands. And then so that's why you see, like, by the time 1990s came around, they were no longer printing on a normal basis. They were printing on like a quarterly basis or something like that. And then ultimately the entire line kind of went away. And then you see that they're, some of them are being revived. But that's why they're so valuable. I mean, you see a lot of people will inflate the prices of these because their print runs, because it was expensive to print, weren't like comic books. Yeah, the print run for these are probably half of what comics were. So, all right, I'm going to go back to the computer and give me a couple seconds.
All right. All right, let's see what else we got in the chat. We enjoy seeing the. I thought that was a gerbil. Oh yeah, it was nice to meet you. Let's see.
All right, but yeah, that's how that came about, and that's they're beautiful magazines inside and out.
Well, Aaron actually had a question here. It's like no coloring.
The term magazine is what they use predominantly to to skirt a lot of these things because the rules were different for comic books because comic books were considered to be almost exclusively marketed towards kids, whereas these were not. A magazine was different. The terminology, just literally the terminology between comic book and magazine, the people who were archaic even then, this seemed like a magazine was something that an adult was going to buy and wasn't going to be marketed towards kids. Comic books were by nature, they thought, marketed for kids. So that's why they were able to get away with that. And that's why, yeah, comic books back in the day were super duper expensive to make. Because of the color mixing and everything else. The reason why a lot of your basic colors, when you look at something like the Hulk, and a lot of people, the rumor is, and it's never been like substantiated, but I do believe this is one of the reasons why the Hulk is always supposed to be green. The Hulk is always supposed to be green, and what I always hear is that it was expensive to use green on a regular basis because you had to mix the way the printing presses work. You had to do something different to get a green. That's why whenever you saw green on a comic in those eras, you knew that that's something that they knew that they could make their money back on. But just the printing comics, coloring comics, because the coloring was done differently back then. Now it's all digital, but the covers are expensive. Not expensive, but expensive to print. And then you had to print, at the time, which was 18 to 20 color pages, not overly expensive, but the magazines, especially when you're talking like you're using the same process. And this is Vampirella by Harris, by the way. You're using the same process in a basic comic back in this day that you were inside the book. Whereas those magazines were using a beautifully done, printed, painted by top tier artists of the day. So that's where they save their money. And a lot of people took their cue about that. Like if you read The Crow, or if you read a lot of the comics that came out from College Press, a lot of these comic companies were so small and they had so small a budget that's how they saved the bulk of their money. They would kick ass on those covers because the cover, this is our business. If you were a comic book dealer back then, this is your business. This is the most important, page of the comic, unless something spectacular happened in there that you found out about. But this is the first thing your customer sees. So if you blew them away with the brilliant color, the artist might not even be the person that was in that did the artwork for the book. It didn't matter. It could be chicken scratches. They wouldn't. Okay, that cover is the first thing you see as a collector. It's what tells the story. Every one of these covers, especially these retro ones here, sells the story for the most part. I mean, you look at this facsimile of X-Men 42. If you were walking by, or your news rack or your comic store and you saw that, you knew some shit was going down in this comic book, and that was the purpose of the cover. So they could, the inside of it could be black and white, whatever. It didn't matter. And like I said, as you got to it's like Dark Horse. Dark Horse started out almost predominantly. They went to color eventually, but when Dark Horse first started, they didn't have a lot of money, so half of their stuff was black and white. So Warren Magazine, yeah, they had money at the time, but they spent a lot of it on the cover. So that's why you see that. All right, next one.
Let me get this
up collecting magazines. Let's see. All right. It's in Discord, Larry.
Aaron also says, do you see a time they'll reissue those comic books and color them then?
Do you see a time where they'll reissue and color for them? No. Because most collectors that love that stuff, they love that original format of it. They've even printed out. Let me. Like this one right here, and I have to cover this one because it shows her boob and nipple. So this one right here is it's like a knockoff of not a knockoff, but it's like it's made by Warrant magazines. So it's It's like a knockoff of it, because they don't print them anymore. But it's called Vampiris Carmilla. It's basically a knockoff of Vampirella. But it's like I said, back in the day, there was a bunch of knockoffs. Now I believe this one just came out. These are new. And if you look at even the new ones, I got to make sure there's no nudity here because this one has a lot in it. Okay, so this one's all. So if you look at this, and I'm going to blow my screen up here. This is brand new. This is brand new. This just came out, but it's done in vein in the same format, and by using a lot of the same artists that were there. It's done in the. So yeah, this was brand new, and it's all black and white, simple because most of the people who will seek these out will want that. They won't want that. That's the way that it. They did it for a reason back then, but it became part of their identity. These magazines, part of their identity was, and like I said, this is the Frank Frazetta cover, by the way. They reused it. I'll cover that. It's the Frank Frazetta cover. Frank Frazetta is the GOAT as far as these comics goes, and these type of things go. A lot of these guys were able to make a decent amount of money because the type of stuff that they were doing before, they were doing it by the project. So they would be artists for hire. They would be painting stuff for book covers, stuff like that. Magazines like this gave them freaky for a bigger paycheck and a more frequent paycheck. So kind of where you got to see it. It got a lot of their artwork out there.
All right. Droga says,
I hope that was fun for you guys. I hope that, opened your eyes to, like I said, we talk comics, we talk a lot of stuff like, that, but we never get to talk like some of the stuff that is really unique, some of the stuff that we have in the store that's just not comic books. So I hope that broadens your horizons a little bit. You still there, Brad?
Mm-hmm.
Did Brad hit the can again?
No, I'm right here. William says you get Alex Ross as a guest sometime. I mean, we'd love to. I definitely would love to be part of that. Right. Aaron asked, are there any way in which people can read those comics digitally?
Yes. Believe Warren Press makes it so that you can. Hold on. As a matter of fact, I have their website. Let's see. I believe there are some websites that you can. I think the people who bought what Warren was. Hold on. That's a good question. They have a Facebook page. I'm going to put that Facebook page in here. And I think that leads to their digital uploads. So there you go. I don't know how many of them on there because that's a good question. I never really thought about reading them digitally, but I know you can. But there's some really great articles. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and bring this up, and I'm going to put that in the chat too. It's talking about a lot of the stuff of that time that was non-comic books code. Because the comic books code was, like I said, we're going to do a special on that one day. One of the dumbest things mankind ever created. I mean, come on. You're trying to take kids that have just gone through war and seen war and all that. You're trying to soften things up from them because you think that's going to be what adds to their violence. But you got all the Westerns that were shooting people. I mean, come on. Yeah, it's just the silliest thing. But there's that. I've tried. He's super busy. When back in the when we did our when the Snyder Cut was released, we were going back and forth with him and his people, and they gave us stuff. I mean,
really,
really nice some stuff to give away. But I'm giving it to you this way. Alex Ross was so busy that he had a massive display at Comic-Con, but he wasn't there.
Wow.
Because he doesn't do very many interviews. I don't from what I know. And I'm a YouTube nobody. So I will always continue to try to get Alex Ross on here because he's I mean I don't think I need to express any further how much he means to me as a comic book collector. I mean, Kingdom Come, like I made a post the other day. Other than that, these are the two books right here that when you come in comic and you've been away for a while, or you just want a jumping point to get back in, like I always said, DC New Frontier and Kingdom Come. These are the two books that sit right at my counter, and they're always there. I always replace them. I always make sure, because we get a lot of tourists in there. We get a lot of people, and they're startup. Well, I used to collect comics, but I say, well, why don't you do it anymore? Well, I wouldn't know where to get back in. It's been a while. Bam, 1-2 punch. Here you go. You know, you will not go wrong with this. And wherever you go from there, and this is Alex Ross, man. I mean, this is Alex Ross doing an entire series. I mean, covers inside out. That's what made Kingdom Come such an epic thing, man. It was just, I wish I could get Alex Ross on there. You know what? I'll always try, but I always know the reality of, like I said, me being like a bottom feeding YouTube.
Aaron says the comic code was precursor to the McCarthy era comics. Oh, yeah. I mean,
was it Canary in the Coal Mine? Yeah, and it was just so fucking
once and Seduction of the Innocents, of course, that was the kind of the big pillar of that.
Realize what was going on during the era that you're trying to censor this. You realize how much that your kids of that era, my dad was in that era. You realize how much that those kids had access to. This is what was gonna, you thought you were gonna be curbing things from then? We were growing up at the beginning of the Cold War. You were legit showing people being vaporized in your commercials for kids. Duck and cover, Jimmy. Oh, what's going to happen?
It sounded like you were about to say duck and cover, bitch.
You could be vaporized. You're telling people that they could be dead in an instant. And by the way, giving them very false information, because guess what, guys? And I grew up on an Air Force base where we got this shit. If you could see the blast, you're probably dead. The only thing getting in a little fetal position and facing away from the blast does is make it so that shadow that burns itself into the ground forever when it vaporizes you is facing that way. That's it. So we grew up with the stuff that they censored, even up in the 80s when we were kids. The stuff that they were trying to keep away from us paled in comparison to the shit that we had right there. I mean, the toys that they marketed to us were extremely violent. We were talking about that the other day. The alien, the xenomorph, has an inner mouth that at most times will put brain matter on the fucking camera, but we got toys for that. I mean, come on. So yeah, the comics code, like I said, we could do a whole stream of the absolute and absurd joke.
Seduction of the Innocent. I mean,
I said, I just posted that article in there, and that's a lot of part of it. But like I said, places like Warren and other places, Savage Sword of Conan found a way to have topless women and throughout the comic. Why they were marketing Conan to kids, I don't know why we're marketing. Conan's not a great guy, but hey, kids, comics. There's Conan. Conan was cutting people's heads off and forcing himself on the whole screaming at women and having way. That's what he was doing in the comics. That's okay though. So yeah, lots of fun. Next one. You all right, man?
Yeah. What? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. What if he's still there?
Can you hear me? What the hell?
Why are you asking if anybody else is a mod here?
What the? Can you hear me? What the heck?
Okay. Yeah, we have
Can you hear me?
I have a lot. We've been selling a lot of them too.
Jeez, what the heck is going on? Can you hear me?
People like to read those, and people like to have them on there. Okay. Larry in the comic shop said, but I never. Okay, so you said something other creepy.
William, can you hear me? Because they say that.
Okay. Oh yeah, creepy, eerie.
I'm sorry. They're saying they can hear. Can you hear me?
Oh wait, hold it. I mean, are you muted?
No, I'm not muted.
I see you moving on the screen. Hold on. Oh, okay. Hold on. I got to go out and go back in. It's still on the other one. Okay, it's me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm mentioning like Seduction of the Innocent during that discussion. I'm like, William, did you get that like twice?
Testing,
Yeah,
testing.
can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. All right, cool.
Yeah, because I mentioned Seduction of the Innocent during the comics code part. I'm like, did he hear me mention that? Because that's very relevant to that.
Yeah, no, very relevant. And then at Comic Con one year, they actually had a huge panel, hitting that up. Back in the 80s, it was like I said, it was the censorship was ridiculous because it was like, and a lot of indie books got had to get distributed away. And back in the day though, before comic book stores, because comic book stores were sort of relatively a new thing. They were around, but they weren't around in mass. Even when I was growing up in the 80s, I grew up in San Bernardino. There was only, for as many people that lived in San Bernardino, there was only 2 or 3 at the time I was growing up. Now you go to any given city, there's 15, 20, 30. In the height of the 90s, the saturation era, there were 36 comic book stores in this town. 36 comic book stores. And this is before we were really big. But back in the day, if you couldn't get your shit approved by the comic book code, you couldn't carry it in the places where the majority of people bought comic books, which was at convenience stores. And on the East Coast, it was newsstands. So in the West Coast, it was we didn't have a lot of newsstands. We had 7-Elevens, we had Circle K's, and that Hey Kids Comics was right there. And then that little turning thing, I even got one of those here. That's how you were able to do it. But the mass producers and people like that, and the vendors, the stores and all that, we would not carry them if they weren't approved for the comic book code. So when I first started going to comics book stores in the mid 80s, I started saying, like, you weren't going to see the Crow at 7-Eleven. You weren't going to see the Crow on a newsstand. You had to go to a comic book store to do that. That's why when Frank Miller did what he did with Daredevil, it was so special. And when Chris Claremont did with X-Men was so special, they were doing things that that the general vendors would not approve of, but they were crafty and they got around it. You could get Daredevil and all the shit that was going on there. You could get that at a 7-Eleven. You could get X-Men. That's where I first bought my first X-Men, was at a 7-Eleven. But you couldn't get Warren you could get it, but like I said, it was sitting right next to the adult magazines uncovered because of the covers. But like I said, a lot of the indie comic books that didn't use that route, they never saw the light of day. And as comic book stores came more prevalent, then you had direct issues. So now you had, the distributors started, in the early 80s, started working, like the Diamond and the Kitchen Sink Press and all those. They started working directly with the comic book stores now. Whereas their only market decades prior were the actual newsstands, vendors, all that. Once the comic book stores became prevalent, it almost exclusively went through us. You still see some comic books on the mass media stuff, and in bookstores and all that. But for the majority of it now, you got it online, you order online, or it's through, it's through second media. So yeah, and that's one of the things that, other than the absurdity of it all, that made things like the comic book code irrelevant, because once the focus of where these things were being purchased shifted from those safe spaces into, like, dungeons like mine, then it was up to me not to sell an underage kid, the Crow, unless he had his parents' permission. I would have kids that wanted to come in. Judge Dredd. I mean, there are some particularly violent issues of Judge Dredd from Fleetway, and it will say mature readers on there. And I'd have kids coming out. My dad says it's okay. Nope. Not only would I have the parent come in and say, if you bring your parent back and I hand this to him and he flips through it and he's okay, then he can buy that. I would sell it to him, but I'm not selling it to you, because back then it was pretty much stringent. There was a lot of gory comics that came out that back then, but they had a market because we had comic stores, and it was up to us to not necessarily censor, but make sure that the wrong content didn't get in the right hands. And if a parent came in and said, it's okay, then I checked the ID. Like I would know who the kid was. I would know his name is. I would check the ID. I'm paranoid this way. This is like the 90s to make sure that he just didn't get his old, no, parent guardian. And that was back in the time when kids came in, it wasn't just, like when I came in a comic store just by myself, a lot of them would come with their parents and family. And, they would reach for something and say, can I get this? And they would bring it up to the counter and I would hand it back to the parents and say, are you okay with this? Most of the time they would flip through it and be, it would be okay. But I always took that measure because I just never wanted to fuck up somebody's experience. And I never wanted to, bypass the parents because some parents were stringent than others, So, it's, we became the comic book code. But because that's back when I read everything that came in. It's like, ooh, I know if a kid comes in with this, I don't want them, I need to put this somewhere else. And then you would just market your store. Faust was another one. Faust came out. Faust is one of the most explicit comics I had ever seen at the time. It's just really it's all kinds of just explicit shit in there. But, when you sent it out, the covers look really cool. It's like, ooh, this is cool. And then they would have another cover where you would pull back and then it would be the explicit version. We couldn't put that on the shelf. We had to put that on a high shelf. So we didn't need it. We really never needed a comic book code. You just needed people, that knew the merchandise. So, all right, next one. Let me get rid of this. But yeah, I love talking more.
What if Darth Vader had Bane's voice?
What did that have to do with what I'm talking about right now? But hey,
you said next one. It was the next one. Well, they got a whole bunch of here. They were just like they're just
next. I'm sorry. Next. No.
They got a whole. In fact, do you want to go ahead and open up the floor now?
Yeah, we can go ahead and. Yeah, because it's 10:55. Let's go ahead and do that.
So we're gonna let the inmates. We're gonna let you rambunctious hellions in here now.
So
which, by the way, there was a little hashtag about that in the chat earlier. I think it was during the Roadhouse. It was either that or during Arrival, and I can't remember exactly what episode this was, but I got that from it was an episode of The Simpsons where Homer has some kind of accident and he says, "Oh, my kids are a bunch of rambunctious hellions."
I'm just making sure there's nothing. Yes, I have, and that is way undervalued. I doubt that goes through. They can get more for the company, and if you're going to buy it for that price, you're probably just going to buy it to probably piece it out, which is not good for Warner Brothers, or Paramount. So no, don't do that. And that's one of the reasons why the talks broke down is Warner Brothers wasn't willing to pay what Paramount was probably worth. Let's see. All right. Copy paste.
Here we go.
Just keep it. My patience is thin. I'm hitting the dump button. The first stupid shit that comes through is just getting dumped. So just be advised. And I know who the first people that are going to pop up in.
Oh yeah, I think I can guess too. Oh yeah, and I hit this nail on the head here.
What's up, Spidey?
What's up, Tra man?
Okay, what is this shit? What is this Tra?
Tra is the new way of life, bro. Just learn to relax and let it.
Oh, so it's like Hakuna Matata or something?
The Tra must flow.
That's all I need to know.
The Tra must flow. Hey, let me hit you with a little appreciation, William, before it gets out of hand here. I don't know why you're laughing about that, but your Warren magazine. I never heard of that before, and as somebody likes appreciate comics and that aspect that you do of the show, I appreciate you kind of bringing something new to me, because a lot of times they'll bring up something that it might be new to the chat, but I've seen it, or it's been a saga in the old days for me. So that's something that's completely new for me. It kind of reminds me of the pre-DC and Marvel comics, where all the Cowboy War pulp serial short stories and comic strips that were in there. So that kind of has that kind of vibe to it. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I also you can see the evolution of the painted covers, like you were talking about, going up to the heavy metal types later on, 30, 40 years later. So pretty cool.
Yeah. Simon Bisley literally got a career off of heavy metal. That guy he went from a relative unknown, and then Simon Bisley, and then he would create his own comic book series. But Simon Bisley would do some crazy stuff with Danzig. Him and Danzig got together. A lot of the Death Dealer stuff that you see now came from a lot of that. You know, it was just what I showed you guys was they had to exist in a different world than when the comics are, and now those worlds have merged.
I feel like those painted covers they open up your imagination a lot, because you just, like you said, back in those days, or even in earlier comics, or I mean later comics, you're trained not to expect to see that inside of the book, right? You're going to get something that's touching on that. You're going to get the pencils on there, and that's all great. But the covers that are selling the book are definitely they bend the mind, right? And that's kind of cool. Brad,
another cool thing about those, real quick, is a lot of these ones, the cover did not match up with the story. I know Savage
ever. That's classic. Yes.
Because of the deadlines that the book had to be done to get the publishing.
Sometimes you see that on the Marvel books, though. Like nowadays, you'll still see it on the Marvel and some of the DCs. You'll get a real dramatic rendition of what's not even going on in the book. But Brad, we got a lot of Tra going on in the chat, so read off the Tra.
We got 8 million Tra puns here.
I agreed with you, William. So now that I got to counterbalance it, you know, Batman animated series.
Eric, straight up just Tra. Whatever the hell that means. Tra la 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 la. The Tra and the Furious, 2 Tra, 2 Furious. Tra and the Furious, Tokyo Tra. Friday the Tra team. Jason Traz.
I'm done.
Droga says I'll be on soon. I'm on the Tra. I mean, I'm on the train. Okay.
See, Brad's starting to pick it up. What's going on, Fourth? You with us, or are you hanging out?
You with us there, Fourth?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, he's in the bathroom, everybody.
Yeah, okay.
Just having a little echo action going on here. A little bathtub echo going on. Shaving.
Bathtub and candle.
Dude, where's my Tra?
Please keep the camera off.
Hoping Rebel Moon will be more heavy metal magazine with these uncut versions.
Yeah,
I think it will. Means
All
very.
Right, so here's the thing. One patty instead of a double patty tonight. But Kim, I love you. I mean, you know,
that's a backhanded compliment. You're saying y'all shorted me, but you know, I still appreciate it.
What you did here with this one patty, you did it with one patty, and it weighs the same. It's a turkey burger. It smells great. You know, this is where every single patty should be. Every single patty should be almost the equivalent of a half pounder. This is well over a half pound. This is art. This is when you know what the fuck you're doing, right? People just slap burgers around and they take it for granted. Oh, you're hungry? It's not a bologna sandwich, right? I could do that. It's not top ramen. I can make that in the microwave. But
nice save, William.
You gotta.
That looks like Roadhouse on Amazon to me.
This is what it looks like when you care about your craft. I wish you guys could hold. I wish there was some way, some virtual reality way that you guys could experience how much this weighs, how good it smells.
Well, soon enough we'll have VR with smell-o-vision, then you can show us.
Didn't just slap the cheese on there. Didn't just squirt the ketchup on there. Didn't just throw the lettuce. She built this burger. See, those other people, they make a hamburger.
I can make that.
She built this hamburger. Or not a hamburger. I'm sorry, turkey burger.
Daniel is very impressed with the styrofoam bend. So, you know, you're really selling it to the point where the packaging is even looking delectable to Daniel.
Yeah, and look how it's just placed in there. They didn't just throw some shit in there and say, here you go, get out of my place. No. It needed to look as good as it tastes. This burger is going to taste as good as it's like fucking Da Vinci. I'm literally eating Rembrandt when the show's over. So just needed to show you guys that. So Sister Kim's in the same spot with us.
So long.
All right, everybody, it's confirmed. William eats Rembrandt, whatever that means.
I don't know how you can let the fries sit so long, William.
Get soggy on it, unless they got something in there to keep them set.
Like the fries got to get eaten. Cold fries, no good.
Oh no, we'll be fine. Trust me. There will not be anything left of this.
Dork Knight's asking if anybody saw Ghostbusters. That just came out this weekend, right?
I did not.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that yet. I'll probably I might give that a look tomorrow.
Go see it, but I didn't go see it.
I didn't even saw.
I'm just not a big Ghostbuster fan. I mean, I haven't been since I was a kid.
I like the first one. The second one's all right, but it really doesn't hold a candle to the first, and I'm kind of cool right there. I mean, they made the other ones, and that's cool. I'm not against them. It's just
and like I was saying last night, their audience is shrinking. The Ghostbusters audience is shrinking.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're chasing after.
Yeah, and it's sad to see. I mean, I'm wondering
45
how many
and
more they
50
got
year olds.
left.
I think what you're on the top end of the on the demographic at what 82 years old. So when they came out with Ghostbusters, you were in your mid 40s.
Yeah, you know what? I warned you all, mofos, that it's just whatever. But no, I'm not the target. I don't even know if I'm the target demographic for it anymore because they've moved on to a different generation. It's just I just wasn't into it in 1984. I mean, my old man loves it.
Yeah, the first one's cool. First one's a classic. I fuck with the first one. It's good.
But I don't think Ghostbusters was meant to be franchisable.
Yeah, it's kind of a. That's why I say two doesn't really keep the same energy, right? Fourth, it just one is kind of. They should have just left it alone. That's all the magic is in part one. I think.
mean, you could play with it and turn it into like an all-out horror and do something like tonally different, but you're just rearranging the chess pieces.
I don't. Yeah, I could see that, but I don't think they'll ever pull the trigger on some shit like that. Because ever since that cartoon, they've extended it. They've extended the generation with remember the real Ghostbusters, and you had the Ghostbusters cartoon, the official one, and then you had another one that they licensed. They're both licensed, and you had the real Ghostbusters, and they had the toys. That kept it going a lot longer than anything, and that's what I think makes them think that they can extend this. But as long as they don't spend a lot of money, Ghostbusters, these last two Ghostbusters movies have been dirt cheap. So they're going to make their money. I mean, it's a $200 million movie, and that was made for $75 million. So there you go. Sony does that.
Larry says he's Vigo from 2.
Ghostbusters cost how much to make?
Shit. What's up?
Ghostbusters cost how much to make?
Ghostbusters Afterlife cost.
What's going on?
Let me look. I think it was cheap.
I thought you said $200 million.
No, that's what it's going to make.
Oh.
Yeah, it's going to make, and that's fine. That's what Sony does. They keep their costs low.
It's going to be a profit. I know someone was telling me yesterday that it's probably going to not do well because of word of mouth. I'm just like, do you really think people are going to care?
It might. You know what, dude?
Chappie.
It might struggle because some of the word of mouth I've heard mixed.
I have too.
Yeah,
Chappie,
I thought it was pretty good, but that's just me.
What's your favorite Ghostbusters and why is it 2016?
No, that's not my favorite.
Is it closely resembled to Salvation? No, I'm just messing.
It made more
than
my
Chappie Salvation joke.
That 2016 movie. It cost way more, but it made more than Afterlife. It made more than Afterlife by a lot, by like 14, 15 million.
Yeah, the downfall of it was just their budget was too high.
Yeah, the budget was too high.
There was no more left.
It took what?
Like, so they took up all the Ghostbusters energy from the audience interest.
I don't think there was any. I think the same people went to go see Afterlife for the most part, roughly. Yeah. But it just had Afterlife didn't have that kind of star power.
Once you start
over. Yeah, but wasn't it because of like the backlash of it that made them not want to do it too? Because they got so much heat from it. Oh, no.
Oh, you're talking about the 2016 one?
Yeah.
Daniel knows what I'm talking about. That's what I was saying to you, Chappie. That's why I asked that, because Daniel get it.
I don't hate it.
You know what? Not everybody hated that.
I figured you fuck with it.
I didn't mind it, but it's like I wasn't. Yeah.
When we promoted that movie, most of the people that went and saw it liked it. Most of the people I saw that weren't on the internet.
Whining, bitching and whining because of what the internet says.
Yeah, they were fine with it. I mean, I know people who like that movie that are not terminally online.
Yeah, same here.
And the only thing that they really needed to do with that one is control the budget. But the star power was a big thing for that. You had Melissa McCarthy, who not my big favorite, but she's hot at the time.
Oh God,
and then you had Kate McKinnon
at all.
Brad's favorite movie is Spy while he's playing.
I love her.
Yeah, Kate McKinnon was right in the middle of her run with Saturday Night Live. She was very popular, so she demanded a little bit higher. But all you really needed to do to make that a bigger success would have been to not spend the kind of money they did spend on it. They weren't Sony for one movie. Sony generally doesn't spend money on that movie. But you know what? I mean, there's Ghostbusters. It's a $200 million franchise at best, and I don't even know if this one will make. I know this one will be profitable, but I don't know if it may not reach 200. Where is it at right now?
Since you're talking the numbers, Kavari would like to know: is Dune 2 going to hit $1 billion? Do you think that's
no?
I don't think it'll. I don't think it'll hit $1 billion, but I think it has a shot at this point of hitting 600 at least.
Yeah.
Remember what
I
said?
Not doing its initial release. Now it's post release closer to the Oscars. maybe you get, but it never was going to.
Bell Rev's appreciating your Williamisms.
Yeah,
with the
right
Tommy
now,
online.
it's at 16 million, but I mean that's probably not fully updated because that's probably
That's
just like
probably
the
not Saturday.
that's
Yeah,
probably
it
yeah
might
that's,
be.
pro-
But
that's
it
probably
doesn't
just like
seem like some people
that's
are
probably
just
like
very.
Thursday and Friday combined.
Remember
Well,
what I said,
this-
Spidey, about my Dune box office prediction. Always
Yeah,
remember
nobody remembers what you said. That's what I was saying. Why?
Always
Why would we
remember when
remember?
my predictions are on point. I'll tell you if a movie's gonna bomb or do well.
You got to
What did you
chisel
say
it in
about
stone
Dune?
and let us look at it later on. Because if
We-
you're just
I-
going to
I
put it in
predicted-
YouTube
I have my
comments, nobody's going to.
What was your prediction? What was your prediction, Forth?
I said 550.
I remember being on that. I remember we were talking about that.
See, he remembers. So I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
because
See?
it wasn't because we were talking about, and we revisited this as this afternoon and last night about what is considered, given what it's spent, what kind of audience does this Dune franchise have? And it's a complex audience. That's why I say I think people are full of shit when they say that COVID this and day this. No, Dune made the money in the box office for the most part that Dune was going to make, because that's the audience. And that's not knocking them, but dude,
I can agree with you to an extent, Wayne.
you know.
I think
And I would
still
love
think that people
for
had a
700 million.
I think
to go
people
see
have a
Dune right
taste for new stuff in their mouth, and I think that there was still, because he just got finished doing 2049 recently, there was a lot of prestige behind his name, like a lot of fresh capital, if you will, as far as in his
now. But a lot of
industry.
money lost too, you know, and producers will.
True enough. But
Yeah.
as you state, 2049 is Oscar worthy or awards worthy, and you believe the next Dune is Oscar worthy.
Thank
right?
God that there were smarter people.
So that's
in the room
bank.
that,
That's
you know.
that's the risk they're taking with him is Oscar worthy versus the box out. And you brought this up, but yeah, like I think that to what you're saying, yes, but also I think that people had enough of a taste in their mouth for something new that if we weren't in a pandemic, you might have seen something bigger for the first Dune, because we've
Who
really
was I
been
online
inundated.
with?
Well, if you just take it back to 2019, we'd been inundated with all new Star Wars movies, plus a plan of continuing Star Wars on television as far as Mandalorian and new stuff are going. We were all the way pushed up on the Infinity Saga. We were in the midst of the DC drama, and the Dark Universe was trying to be established. All this other stuff was trying to be established and set up, where we were kind of it's all the same shit we've seen. And again, Dune came out in '84. You know, the book's been out, but like you always say, not enough people have actually put their eyes on it. You got a better director telling a more scaled up story, and I think that's exactly what people were hungry for. These are the same audiences that did sit through Lord of the Rings for 3 hours each. They do like sometimes those classic stories and wars and stakes and those types of things without reinventing the wheel or saying you've got to watch 40 movies before you watch this. You know what I'm saying? It's almost got to get in on the ground floor kind of appeal to it. I'm talking 2019 mentality, not where we're at right now. Right?
Even when you come out to 2021, what scared me about Dune when they first said they were going to do this was that even it was not perceived as the kind of IP that people that were not in on it would give a chance. And I think that with HBO Max and with I think that's why we got Dune 2.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. I think there was. If you had a streaming service when the pandemic hit, you were in prime position to succeed. Now, whether or not you went with it, you know, like Zaslav apparently wanted to go the other direction, even with the proof in front of him. But you know, we're trying to sell reality shows, not movies.
As people want to give Jason Caldwell, I mean, that was a smart idea of him to do day-to-day movies.
I think it's why we have Dune Part 2. Because remember, we were looking at
Sorry, Bill Rev. I was just using that as an example. I didn't want to bring PTSD memories of Lord of the Rings back.
I honestly feel that movie studios should start calculating how much they start, how big of budgets they start going with. Because I keep hearing these stats that people about 25 and under do not view movies as a primary source of entertainment.
Yeah, they're on YouTube watching us talk about movies.
Yeah,
so movies themselves. But do you think that's kind of the problem now from Hollywood movies, especially with them going over budget with some movies now, especially with like last year? And do you think they should like take like The Beekeeper, for example, to go like lower budget for it to be more profitable, or no?
No, I think it needs to be on a case by case basis.
I don't know. This
what your movie
coming out of the pandemic last year, it was all horror movies, right? Or not the pandemic, but the writer's strike. Coming out of the writer's strike, it was all horror movies. That's cheap and it makes some big money. I mean, there might be something to which Happy
that's
saying.
fine, but that's not necessarily that works. Like I said, case by case basis. You need to evaluate what are your goals with these movies. What in each movie is going to be different. Not every movie, yeah. Is it going to be cash or is it going to be free? It depends on what the goal is for the movie. But whenever I hear somebody say, "Well, this is a lesson we need to learn from this," I'm like, that's bullshit. There's no such thing as a lesson you can learn from everything else. If you are learning a lesson, you're learning the wrong lesson. You're learning how to fuck up. What you need to do is take your movie and make your movie and spin what your movie needs to spin. Whatever what makes your vision go, and that's the resources that you should apply to that vision. Somebody else's vision, somebody else's thing is going to be something else, and that's going to have a different application. I think a huge mistake would be like for people to think that because one movie that's be able to applicable to what another movie does. That's not always the same. And Hollywood has made huge mistakes by trying to be a copycat gang sometimes. Sometimes it works, but a lot of times it doesn't.
Yeah, you can't copy and paste stats from one movie to the next.
Yeah, in circumstances.
The dinosaur model.
What was that?
Movies themselves might be a dinosaur model in the next maybe like decade or so.
That's possible.
That's a possibility, but I think there's a lot more data we got to look at. I think, listen, I'm leaning towards that because, to be honest with you, as a person who grew up with the cinema, if you
don't want to see it go away either, right? Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to see the
value in it.
If you lay down an IP in front of me, and you give me the decision of a long form series versus a movie, my brain is adjusted to the series. I mean, everybody's going to be different, but Game of Thrones movie or Game of Thrones series. That's just
Bell has a comment at 11:14, Brad, that kind of just touches on the last 2 or 3 years of any fandom really, in one sentence. No, go down. Pandemic, writer strike, merging. Yeah. That's the last 2 or 3 years in a nutshell.
Let's not add repeat to that because I don't want another pandemic. But yeah, one thing after another. But like I said, streaming.
There probably is. I mean, I think the writing's on the wall for it.
And for all these DC and Marvel IPs, I think 2016 was the chance for DC to get it right.
So what about Go ahead.
Faith. Oh, just to wrap up, I have no faith in rebooting a universe and starting all over from scratch for a 10-year plan.
I got mine Thanksgiving too.
What about Daniel's second to?
Well, the thing that kind of scares me a little bit is that the fact that you're probably going to have another merger here, like coming into with Warner Bros. Like, who?
Well, that's what we've been talking about. That's what we've been talking. That's why we say it's like where it's like, among other factors, it's why William and I say it's like, yeah, we can't dive into this 10-year DC plan with the kind of excitement that other fans are trying to, because again because of the baggage of how much the studio dropped the ball before, and then also all these other potential complications entering the picture.
But so do you think if this universe does succeed, do you think the newer regime will keep them or no?
It all depends on where things go in the next 2 or 3 years, or if they're going to have a merger or not, if things are successful or not, whether or not they choose to stick with the plan or they go with whatever new idea comes out at the fringes of the plan once they do start making money. But to what Daniel was talking about here, what do you guys think about this? Now that streaming has been turned into a model for avenue for movie production, are we seeing sometimes some of the things going down in quality? I know Roadhouse was nice, but is everything coming out in streaming as it's becoming streaming exclusive? Are we starting to see straight to DVD quality on these streamers?
HBO doesn't put out anything that's low quality on streaming. The Penguin looks like a cinema level type of thing, and I think that's what's going to have to happen. That's what you're going to see. Yeah, you're going to see, just like when you have cinema, you see shit that comes out that probably should have never been made, but was made and it looks like crap. You're going to have that on any medium. But what's going to have to happen is an adjustment from these streamers is going to have to be an investment in upscale if you want to keep your retention. It's just something that there's not going to be any choice about it. You will have to invest in your streaming service if you want it to flourish and if you want to get that money, that consistent money. Who's opening up a safe behind me? Is that
I don't know. Is that me and my popping? Is that what's going on?
No, Hello? It was Chappie.
Okay. Raya just showed up. So what's going on, Raya?
How's it going, Raya?
Hello. Happy Saturday for another 20 minutes or so?
Bell Rev says God is done with Warner Brothers.
I gotta tell you guys, Warner Bros. Has just been a cursed studio ever since these. What's the deal with all these mergers? Ever since back in back in the 90s? Like why have this keep happening though?
The real swirl of it has been bad management. That's the long and the short of it. But yeah, the real swirl of it has been first AT&T, now Discovery, and now whoever the next one, because they can legally be up for another merger as of April 1st. And
isn't Rupert? You think Rupert Murdoch's going to buy Warner
Brothers? Oh God, help!
He's got an American media company, Boyd. So
he's going the other way. He's getting rid of stuff. Well, and Fox themselves, all their
that would just be a funny turn of events if that happened. That's all I'm saying. One way or the other, it would just be
like Disney. Disney's not going to do it. Everything else, everything that's not the parks and Marvel is up for sale at Disney, including ESPN. So, no, they're not going to do it. So,
I heard your case a little earlier when you're talking about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, and I'll give you your credit because, like I said, I grew up watching Mike Tyson be a bad man. But I'm going to stick by what I said. He's 57. He'll be 58 when the fight goes down. I'm just saying. All I'm going to say is age, and I'm going to leave it there. I listen to you, and I respect your points. And I'm saying this is a Mike Tyson fan. I hope he whips his ass, but it's
go. Do you don't even have to listen to me? Go look up.
Listen, William. You always say that this person doesn't age and that person doesn't age, and that might be true on the outside, but them bones and joints and tendons and muscles wear down and atrophy, and shit just happens, man.
Not in time enough for Jake Paul.
Can you put the link back in the chat, William, real quick?
He doesn't feel like scrolling up. That's what he's saying.
Okay.
He doesn't want his index finger. I'm just fucking around. I'm not speaking for him. I'm just talking shit.
There you go.
Hey, look, Bell Rev says she'd still be scared of him. He's a bad man, and I agree with that, and I respect that. But you said that Jake Paul's not a fighter, and I'll even respect that, Brad. But
yeah,
he is training and conditioning himself for a fight. And with that being said, Mike Tyson's not walking up to some kid who doesn't train in the street. He is fighting with somebody who's getting sparring. And, there's a lot of difference between theory and practice when it comes to sparring and, hitting the bag and then, thinking about what you're going to do to somebody on a Netflix. And then also to the overarching thing, William, it probably is a fucking stage deal like it always is.
Come on.
He fights basketball players and football players in their 50s. And then when he wants to fight Mike Tyson, he's 30 years older. Come on, man. It's obviously for the win, lose, or draw. I'm sure it's a wrestling match more than it's a boxing match.
There's some kind of work going on here.
Now Raya says that he's gonna rip him to shreds, and that's all good. But you guys always say Cash is undefeated and Math is undefeated, but we have no more fucking respect for Father Time anymore. Come on, guys. I mean.
Didn't we have exactly this debate about 2 weeks
We did, and that's why I said William got his points unchecked, and everybody was in agreement with him. I just had to say my piece. I know I'm rocking the boat, but I'm willing to walk away because I don't have any points. I have nothing to say for Jake Paul other than his age. Mike Tyson is a boxing fucking genius and came on the scene as a genius, prodigy. So I get it, but it's the only thing I'm looking at is age right now. You know what I mean? Unless this is a stage deal, it's gonna come down to age, man. I think, but I could be wrong.
But it's got to be a stage deal, though.
For the amount of time that this may last, I don't think the conditioning and age is.
So you also think this is going to be like one of these 37-second Mike Tyson fights too, which is nuts. It's not going to be that at all.
Well, again, that's all assuming that
funny. Unless he catches him funny, not putting his hands up, then they were talking about chins earlier, Brad. That'd be one of them chin situations. If you don't.
Well, again, that's all assuming. Again, this is not just a gimmick.
Yeah, if it don't work, it can last. It'll last all whatever.
And the fact that we're even questioning that shows how little credibility these two have when they stage these fights, because it comes up in the conversation every time.
Yeah, you know who would make the most interesting. The opponent I would be most as far as like a celebrity boxing match with Mike Tyson wouldn't even be Paul, be Uwe Boll, because the dude actually has a history of getting the boxing ring.
And they're closer in age, right? The director.
Well, not just that, but he's
Why'd you say that name, Brad?
Yeah, he's a good boxer.
Why'd you say that name? Dang, so you gotta have a drop for that.
You're getting Chappie excited.
I
don't want that. Martial. I mean, he's trained. He can actually hurt you.
Yeah,
he's not a.
Well, yeah, but but it's like he's taken like the criticism of his horrible movies so personally that it took some of his critics into the
yeah, that's a way too idea. That's someone that I respect.
Aaron's bringing some of her expertise into the opinion here, so she's on your guys' side. And then Daniel and Bell Rev. Daniel and Bell Rev got a little back and forth. That's kind of funny if you want to go down the line.
Let's see if we can find it here. Bell, what do you know about Adrena? Yeah, because he said like Tyson's gonna shoot up adrenochrome or something.
Yeah.
That's why Jared Leto looks 30. Yeah, he does. Yeah. He is the youngest looking 50-year-old.
Maybe if Jake pump some of that testosterone like Batman did, Pattinson Batman. Maybe it might stand.
Oh yeah, with that EpiPen. Yeah, I wouldn't want to. It was
a well-lit alley. Unfortunate that they used a green adrenaline because then everybody started thinking that was Bane venom.
Yeah, people thought. I remember people saying.
I figured it was adrenaline because I thought they stated it in the movie that it was adrenaline, but just there was no evidence of Bane whatsoever or venom anywhere in the movie.
By the way, that stuff that he used, it's a derivative of what's called atropine. For back when we had nerve gas, when we had to, if we ever got nerve poisoning, we were trained to. It had three things that that one of them was the adrenaline that sped your heart up. One of them was the anti-nerve, and another one was the one that brought your heart down.
So all you Call of Duty players out there, that's the stem shot that you hit yourself with when you're trying to run away.
They let you know while you're getting trained on it that there's a better than good chance that you're going to die administering this because your heart is just going. You're putting your heart because the purpose
out of your chest, right?
Yeah, to get it out of your system and then stabilize and then bring your heart rate down. All and you got to do this 1, 2, 3. While you're in mop gear and why there's chemicals and stuff going through your system. So, wow. And I'm at Fort Sill thing. This sucks. Everything you guys are teaching us right now, other than shooting people, is basically at the end where we're going to die. So why don't we just call it air support, man? Fuck this.
Rhea says Juvederm and stem cells do wonders.
Yeah. She also has a question. Question for everyone: where would you build a dedicated DC theme park, and which character will get a monster roller coaster named after them? It's interesting.
Man, in Chicagoland, Six Flags. Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned that because that's another thing I talked a bit about, and I put this in a couple of articles too. After ZSJL came out, because he had the appearance when he was on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and Colbert was in character saying, "Oh yeah, they did the Nightmare segment, and they said, oh yeah, this is like the first of like 50 spinoffs. We're talking theme parks and stuff like that." And I remember thinking at the time, this is another thing they're not cashing in on. It's like imagine like a theme park like Nightmare Land, like DC Nightmare Land.
Let's get the Nightmare finished before we make a theme park about
it. Yeah, idea.
No, I think that'd be awesome.
My answer would be I wouldn't build a DC theme park. I'd build a.
I got like 5 jokes for that, Brad, but I'm not gonna shit on my fellow Americans, so I'm just gonna say.
Okay.
I built an anime
that's where Kevin Tsuchihara worked, right? He was the head of Six
Flags.
Oh
yeah,
right?
Yeah. He because he came from theme parks, and he went to Warner Brothers and was he took.
That should be the number one rule. That should be the number one rule in the industry, and that's the same with Bob Chapek, which is don't hire a theme park guy to run your studio.
But theme parks make them 10 times as much money as their movies
theme parks do. That's why he got promoted. When it was Disney and they were pulling in $38 billion. The problem wasn't just Chapek. The problem was the direction Chapek was given once he was appointed. He did what they set out to do, and then they didn't like it. Now, he was an asshole, but you knew he was an asshole with the theme parks because that's kind of how you have to be to get it to that level. They knew he was an asshole. So it wasn't like, oh, he turned out to be an asshole. No, Chapek was an asshole from day one, minute one, second one. But it was their mandate because they wanted to, and the ironic thing about it is they're going to have to go back to that mandate. Their mandate when they brought Chapek in was to, we have the streaming service. We want a stable revenue platform that pulls in this much. You load that shit up as fast as you can with as much as you can. So they didn't like the result of that, and that's fine. But guess what? Guess what the next, Iger's going to end up having to do when he hands it off? He's going to have to do the same thing because they're going to, in order to get the stable revenue that you want, and not just rely on the theme parks, you're going to have to invest in it. It's the same thing that all these streamers are going to learn. You can't get to where you want to be, and you talk about in all these meetings, and when you tell your stockholders this is what's going to happen, you can't get that by going the cheap route. There is no cheap route to where you need to be when it comes to streaming service. They're going to figure that out one by one.
Yeah, but what's your defense on Ken Tsuchihara getting hired?
I had no
Did anybody
defense. I had no defense at the time. It should have been Romanoff from day one. Romanoff was prepped to do that job. I thought that was the beginning of a lot of bad things for Warner Brothers. You know, they never recovered from that.
Hired? That's what's so weird. Like Jeff Romanoff was did believe
because
in him,
they
or, like...
wanted they wanted somebody at the time that was pretty much just a corporate generic shill, and Romanoff was anything but that. So.
Hey, could you guys hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't see my audio levels moving.
William, Bell says scare money don't make no money. I think she says you're scared to take that bet on that Tyson fight. That's all I'm saying. I'm just reading the thing. And then she also said something about Forrest's favorite Batman being Battison. Hey, Bell, you haven't been here for a while. You should actually listen to Forrest's idea for
He's afraid
Batman.
to come on the show. Yeah, hit the link.
Forrest's idea for Batman's actually pretty sick. Bell, you should listen to it.
The crossover?
Yeah, the crossover.
Oh yeah, that'd be something.
I say let's Drogo and I. If Drogo wants to work on that, we'll go in.
Which Drogo also he's just done a fan film, a Batman fan film. So yeah, guys, give that a look if you haven't seen it. You put that on YouTube, right? Drogo.
Link in the chat.
A second.
You got a link you can drop in the chat?
I think William might need to do that because it's still not letting me drop stuff in the chat.
I can't get on Discord on the computer. You can send it to me in a message and I'll do that.
I was gonna say
because
we were talking about the studio stuff before I dropped off.
That
in order to probably run the studio successfully, I know probably a lot of us won't want to hear it, but I would probably drop DC in favor of manga movies and video game movies because I think that's probably where the audience.
Really, video game movies? You think that's the way of the future?
Video game movies don't have
9 times out of 10, video game movies suck. We just got lucky with Mario and maybe.
When they're done wrong, they got to have the era of respect, just like.
But they're almost always done wrong.
Don't own them, Brad. There's some
Resident Evil 2 kind of resembles Resident Evil Nemesis the game. Kind of.
Resident Evil Raccoon City was pretty good. I like that one a lot.
It's like Mortal Kombat and Mario. Those are where you have your best batting average as far as video game movies.
They have
Five Nights at Freddy's was good too. I like that one.
The Hitman movies, the Agent 47 and the Hitman movies.
Yeah, I like the first one. The first one is pretty good. I did see the second one, but I like the first one a lot.
They got to stop handing off these. They got to stop handing these movies off to some guy to direct it. And actually get some, quality.
Well, the people making the decisions don't know the difference between.
Yeah. By the way, that's another reason why
guys. Remember, The Last of Us 2 came out. That was great. So.
Yeah, that's another reason, by the way, that video games movies their reputation because Uwe Boll has single-handedly drug the batting average down so low.
Come on, don't say
Chappie is what's the dude from Last of Us? His name? His
Drugman.
Huh? No. I'm talking
Craig
about
Mason.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, you're the Pedro Pascal stunt double, bro. I got it. That's Chappie. You need to do a picture of Pedro Pascal as your next avatar, Chappie. That would be perfect.
Daniel says nobody's gonna go to an anime theme park. Hell yeah, they would.
They did something cool like fucking Gotcha Man or something. William would be right there. Actually, would be cool.
I would be one of like 50 people.
I'd be there, William.
I thought Warcraft was pretty good. I thought that should have gotten a sequel.
I never saw Warcraft.
Oh,
Gotcha Man is the dumbest looking, most violent thing that ever came out. It's great.
Spidey, you'd be first in line for an anime theme park.
That's what I'm saying. I'd be up there at Gotcha Man with the.
Fun says Batman.
Don't they have that in Disney World?
I don't know.
I can see Spidey at Anime Expo doing his oohs all over.
I want to go check out the Gundam statues in Japan. You know what I mean?
Let me hear ooh Japan. Spidey.
Oh, I'm wooing for nothing, but I'll definitely show up at your anime. Oh man.
No, I'm still pushing for that Nightmare Land, that DC Nightmare Land.
I
know you're like Spider-Man. And Spider-Man, I know you're like saying it's like, yeah, let's get the Nightmare actually finished first. But yeah, I mean that might be part of the way to do it. Is like, here's what you're missing, everybody.
BBS Nightmare?
Yeah.
What's that going to be? Just a bunch of desert and bricks?
Yeah, it's like here's like Parademon. It's like you have the Flash you have like a cosmic turbo for the Flash, and it's like, and you have another exhibit where it's like, okay, now you're on a mission to
they have an AR
nest and.
Hey, Brad,
didn't they have an AR experience last month where it was like super shitty, like how you're describing it? You two, Brad and Forrest. Wasn't there like something in the UK or something like that? Some kind of show? No,
yeah,
it was
Willy
some kind
Wonka,
of AR, or maybe it was Willy Wonka. I don't know, some kind of AR show. That was like
That's what Nightmare Land would be like. It'd be like just the desert in San Bernardino.
it'll be a Ja Rule Fire Festival.
Run the bat. Here's another ride. It's like getting the Batmobile and you're doing like a chase with parademons and apocalyptic warriors.
Yeah, that could be cool. Could be cool.
Nobody gets
go-karts
hurt?
with parademons.
Here's another ride. It's like, okay, here's Nightmare Superman. You have to dodge his heat vision. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody gets hurt or what?
Yeah,
You'd be on the ride for it,
yeah,
so the
like
like
laser tag.
lasers would be shooting at you while you're like on the roller coaster. You know how it goes.
Forget a theme park. Why not just make a video game of the Nightmare Land? That's what I would do.
Because then people would just play it at home.
Yeah.
Why would you go all the way to a theme park to play a video game? Stand in line.
Yeah, why don't they also make? There's I mean,
Arcades
you
are
could
good.
write a freaking book on why they have not done stuff with the Nightmare. I mean, it's like, why you do this with it? Why you
I think it's because
video
they
game,
wanted to
comic,
overlook
movie,
the
spin-off
DC.
show?
People would be up in arms if there was a theme park land and DC theme park land and Ben Affleck's Batman shows up.
Raya probably has the best solution. Is why isn't there a Pokemon land? I mean, we don't need to love Pokemon, but there's definitely like one of the biggest things in the world. Plus, it checks the anime box for us, so it's like the the Disney-ish, I guess.
That's the idea.
Yeah,
If I wanted to make money, I'd go with that.
That's why our stupid asses are
Any
on the
watch-alongs
stream. She's in the chat
no?
coming with the ideas, generating the content.
Any watch alongs? Well, yeah, and none of them are spook movies. So there you go.
Look, just take all the DC characters and give
Brad,
them
after you make all your money on Scary Movie by the Minute, the podcast, you can take those earnings and open up a Scary Movie land.
I already showed you guys what scary. I'm gonna pull it up again. I showed you guys like a week ago what Scary Movie by the Minute, the entirety of it would consist of. Okay, you need to see it again. I'm gonna show you.
Well, you got to pay this time because you've done it twice today.
Hey, Brad,
you got to donate if you do it
idea for you.
What's that?
Fun Fun's got the idea for you.
Raid theme park.
But wait for it. But it's just a giant can of fucking Raid for like roaches.
No, it'd be like you have to fight your way up to the top of the tower and fight like people with baseball bats and claw hammers.
Yeah, disgruntled employees that can't wait to beat the shit out of fucking.
No, they could do that, right? You take UFC or something like that, right? You put it in a building like American Gladiators. You have somebody try to get to the top and beat the people's asses to get.
So would you see it more as a more heavy spectator / act or amateur participant like Gladiators was, where it's more a spectator sport, but you get 2 or 3 people that are amateur.
You got to be trained at least. You know, you can't just beat some dad.
So like American Ninja Warrior / whatever.
Yeah.
You know? Got it.
We better jump on that.
Yeah.
We're giving you ideas, dude. Brad, take that Scary Movie by the Minute cash flow.
I could.
Turn it into something. You don't even got to pay us, dude.
No, I'm not going to go with the Dumb and Dumber diarrhea scene again. I'm going to pull up something else that would encapsulate what that entire podcast would consist of.
Too much, man.
You can't possibly. There's no. It's not within the realm of human capability to hate Scary Movie too much. It's not possible to hate Scary Movie too much.
Hey, Chappie, you can't even say fourth.
That's like telling me you hate herpes too much.
Hey,
no,
everybody can use a little bit of herpes.
That's like telling me you hate brain cancer too much.
You can't hate herpes too much.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't hate brain cancer too much either. So you can't hate
Scary Movie 3 is like arguably one of the best spoof movies ever made.
Okay, Chappie decided to depart early tonight, so we'll be carrying on discussion without him.
Not the chat master. You got to bring him back. Right? He's the life of the party, dude. I'm telling
you.
I mean, seriously, it's like it's all so scattershot. It's also lacking in focus. That's a spoof. If you want to call it writing,
like that,
it's not supposed to be like that.
Well, we need new spoof movies. That's the problem.
Yeah, we need good ones like Young Frankenstein,
Robin Hood,
Robin Hood Men in Tights, like Dracula Dead and Loving It, like the Hot Shots. Like what?
We need not another DC movie, spoof movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll all be about the ones we're not getting.
Let's get a woke
I'm gonna get you
movie. That's what I've been pushing for. Let's get a woke one. The woke spoof movie would make so much money. I guarantee you. They do it right. It would be so funny.
What spoof movie?
You could have Pete Holmes on the superhero spoof movie. He does pretty good superhero.
I'm gonna get you Snyder.
I'm gonna get you Snyder. Yeah, do all the. Yeah, that could be funny for it.
I mean, again, it's like the targets in Scary Movie 3 of spoofing. It's Signs and 8 Mile. It's
So,
like 8 Mile.
while we're talking,
Mile.
while we're
8
talking
Mile.
while we're talking about spoof movies, Daniel has a question for you, Brad.
Okay.
We are kind of like, acting like the Penguin's not coming out.
Oh yeah, we for the Penguin, no move on Neil whatsoever. I mean, it looks pretty good. You know, it looks very cinematic, but
Penguin's gonna be great.
I'm gonna pass on the Penguin.
No,
That's
come on,
alliteration.
I'm gonna pass on the Penguin. Yeah.
I don't know. It could be cool. I actually like Colin Farrell's rendition of the Penguin. I wasn't a fan of the idea of him being the Penguin because of Bullseye, but
He's
Ben
good.
Affleck and
Hey, I
Colin
like this
Farrell have
Bullseye.
redeemed themselves. Look, Cappy, I just said what I didn't like. So in my eyes, they've redeemed themselves because I think he did really well as the Penguin. Now, hey, Chappie's gonna do the Chappie thing, and I'll defer.
No, I didn't mind this Bullseye. He entertained me a lot. I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, we gotta watch. I never seen the director's cut of.
It's
Daredevil.
great. It's really
everybody
good.
says it's a good watch.
Yeah, it is. It is markedly better. The director's cut of Daredevil.
Okay.
Saying anything.
I was not a fan of the original movie. I thought it was kind of.
I didn't hate it, but
try Michael Clark Duncan as the Kingpin when they were doing something at that time, but
I didn't hate it, but it was
It's definitely one of my guilty pleasures. I don't care what anyone says.
I mean, the
love
Netflix
that movie.
the Netflix show definitely kind of checks more of the boxes of what I was. It very much checks all the boxes of what I'd want to see in a live action Daredevil.
A whole different. I mean, that's top tier, best of Marvel, what they ever produced.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion.
I mean, for what it was, it actually did a pretty good job with the character back in the 2000s, especially with the director's cut, how it fleshed out its origin story.
Fucking awful by 2003 standards. I don't know what you guys are on.
While Williams said Daniel says the complete opposite.
And by the way,
okay, fucking blue.
And by the way, I'm going to show you guys. Okay, here's the you wanted to see like a preview of a scary movie by the minute. Well, here it is right here. Okay, this is what you will hear if I were ever to do a scary movie by the minute. And no, there's no music
seriously.
here.
Insert shit joke.
The internet. All right, let's go.
Is it Lloyd on the toilet?
Okay.
It's Freddy Got Fingered, I think.
What you need here is elevation. Okay, there actually has to be something that happens that's actually funny. What the fuck is happening here?
Okay, that's a banana.
I see the banana gourd.
With a string attached to
I
it.
see the string.
With a bag of eyes on the other end with baboon eyes with a sauce dripping.
Dripping sauce and a baboon.
That wasn't a terrible drawing, though.
Doesn't make
That was
any
actually
sense,
pretty
Gordon.
good drawing.
It sucked.
Get Tom with his face off the phone. Yeah, he can never be on my screen again. Ugh.
What?
That dude,
Who's that?
what's his name? Tom Green. Tom Green. Oh, my
okay.
goodness. I never found him funny for 1 second. He had his own show. I thought, I'm like, dude, what is? They should pay you not to do comedy.
The show that looked like a cable access show that was on MTV.
Yeah.
I love the. Oh, I love the one where he tries to walk up to the old man and interview him. He says, "Where I'm going is none of your damn business."
Would you guys ever want to do a Planet of the Apes watch along though before this new one?
Yeah,
the trilogy that came out.
I'll start with the last ones that came out. Yeah, I have no.
That'll be a good one.
The first one, then that'll be.
Yo, what's up, guys?
So you just saw a preview. You just saw a preview right there of what every episode of Scary Movie by the Minute would look like for me.
So that's the lead into the show. And then you guys have your hour-long discussion of 1 minute.
No, it would just be that on loop.
Yeah, you still hate it too much.
So, who has gotten a chance to watch Red Robin? The movie?
I have not. No, I will.
Can you show? Can we watch it on here because it's your stuff or what?
Yeah,
Red Robin, he's advertising a hamburger chain, William. It's not a DC. It's not the famous DC comic.
Yeah,
it's the hamburger chain, Red Robin.
That's right. We never even showed the actual movie on the screen for the people who aren't.
Hey, roll the dice, William. If we can watch Brad's things, we can watch Mosi, right?
Well, but what you said, even for like fan films, you would need to get clearance from Warner Brothers, right?
IPs.
Well, it's been up
on Discord, which is not YouTube. That's a massive difference.
Got it.
Big difference.
You gotta
dot the i's and cross the t's.
You gotta get a Rumble account with all the extremists, William, so you can play movie trailers.
Right.
Hasn't his film been posted up on YouTube? He hasn't had a strike yet.
It's unlisted though.
Yeah, it's not fully public yet.
I'll explain this.
9, 10 times. All right. Brad can do it. Spidey can do it. Axel, you can do it.
Okay, sweet.
I can't. There's specific reasons that I've already explained like a lot of times now. We're in double digits. Why I can't do that with those particular IPs.
Could someone like I just sent it to the private chat? Could someone send it like Brad or William
Post it,
either
link in
one
the
of you
chat.
send it to like just the comment section?
Hey,
of the chat?
Drogo,
you just
since we
cannot
can't
screen
since
it
we
on here.
since we can't watch it, can you give us a little behind the scenes or a little making of details?
You can watch it, just not here on this channel.
Right.
while
But
I'm
since we
literally
can't
in a
watch
live
it on this
partnership.
stream,
Yeah,
can we
with
get a
the
little?
people
Can we
who
get a
own
little
those
mini
IPs.
interview with the creator?
Yeah, like late night.
Okay, sure. Got any questions?
Yeah, like well, just give us an idea. How long did it take you? What's it about?
It
or just
took
give
me
us the
about
outline?
3 years to film. Took me about 2 months to write. Oh my god, this movie was
Not a plant. We have a live partnership.
He's
and
just fucking with you, man. He's
Yeah,
telling you
I'm
an
trying to
industry
make
plant.
sure that this is clear. It's not that I don't want to show that. No, there's a specific reason. So sorry.
But yeah, like oh yeah, could someone like send the link to like just the comment section so like the other people in the chat can see? Please.
Hold on.
Yeah, just a sec, please. But yeah, like this movie was just oh my god. When we finished like just the final scene with me and the Robin suit. Oh yeah, spoilers. Yeah.
Is it like pure action, or I haven't seen the whole thing.
It's on. There's only like 2 to 3 action scenes, and they're not that good.
And I think you're in it, right? I saw the trailer.
Yeah, I'm in it.
It's a 45-minute long movie. It's a real short film, huh?
Yeah.
I thought
Aaron's
earlier
got a
when
good
you were talking
idea.
about, I thought it was just the preview we were doing. You're releasing. I didn't realize it was the whole movie.
Yeah, Aaron, I could do that for my channel. I could do that. So yeah, the movie's about like 45 minutes long.
You did the little comic book thing they do on the DC where they walk up in the comic shop to like some of the books that are out. That's cool.
Yeah, I did that just
That's
for
pretty
like,
cool.
and I used the old intro, not like the newer one.
Mm-hmm. Brent has a suggestion here. How about you host your fan film watch party on your channel?
Yeah, I know. I could do that. I could. You should
be cool.
Daniel
Set a
says,
premiere date.
So you should use your real name, Robin. You should use your real name, Robin.
John
Should
Robin
set a-
Blake.
I actually like that scene in the movie.
Yeah, I did too. That brought us. I
think
know
that
it's
was
corny,
just.
but it brought
I
us
think that was
smile on
just
my face.
Nolan giving fan service to the people who wanted Robin in the movies.
Why do you think they were so scared of using Robin for so long until now? You think it was because of Batman and Robin?
Bill that didn't want.
Because dudes like Williams.
And you never get a Robin that's under 30 years old. So
That's right, exactly why. Exactly
the Batman
Or
Robin
Robin
dynamic
with,
looks
the
reason
ridiculous.
why they didn't do that.
Or a Robin with like an earring.
Oh yeah, like a Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah, Chris O'Donnell.
I actually thought I did think that was a nice touch.
I shall cancel the pizzas.
I like this Robin. I thought he was pretty good. I liked him in Batman Forever.
I wonder what he's doing now.
Robin the Man Wonder. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like 24.
Batman and Robin wake up in the
Yeah, and
morning.
also, why did
Robin's
they
got a
give
5
him
o'clock shadow?
Why did they give him like a brother when he was in the Fallen Graysons? Like,
They probably just wanted to like add to the.
I meant Flying Graysons.
The Falling Graysons. They probably just kind of add to the tragedy. And he had probably my favorite moment with him in Batman Forever is I'm gonna pull it up, is this right here.
Is it a scene where he's like doing his clothes or something?
Yeah, it's there.
Oh,
I love this part.
Oh god.
We're not used to being late.
That's how Brad gets up in the morning. Does his laundry every day.
He's like,
what's he doing, laundry?
Yeah, you never seen this before, Fourth?
I saw it once in theaters.
This is the best worst Batman movie they ever made.
No, this is Batman Forever.
What is worse? What is worse than? I mean, what is better of a bad Batman movie than this? This is the best bad Batman movie.
No, the best
that
Batman
one
is
actually was
Batman
the
and
last
Robin.
good
That
one
movie's
before,
hilarious.
because Batman and Robin was horrible. Batman and Robin.
Oh come on, that
When's
movie
the
has
last time you
more
watched that?
source
When's the last
than
time you watched that,
Batman. That movie has more source
It's
than
been
the
like 8 or
Batman.
9 years
I
ago,
say
and I
that.
have no desire to watch it again.
Batman and Robin is like Christopher Reeve, like
neon-colored
Superman for the
Batmobile.
Christopher Piece. Like it's
No, it's
bad, but
trash.
it's fun to laugh at.
Yeah, and it's also better than
Batman
any
and
scary
Robin
movie.
is why you have people over directors. Batman and Robin is why you have producers. Batman and Robin is why you have groups
No, I'm
of
talking
people
about Forever.
in this
Everybody knows Batman and Robin's bad. I say Batman Forever is the best bad Batman movie because there is a lot of bad shit.
I don't
with it,
even
but
think
it's-
Batman Forever is a bad Batman movie.
I asked when's the last time you watched it.
Batman Forever?
Yeah, that shit's terrible.
I
I mean,
watched
I used to
Batman
love that. as a
Forever
kid.
on Christmas Day.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of what Taika Waititi did with Full Love and Thunder, though. Like they
Okay,
pretty much
wait,
gave him to do whatever he wanted, and then we
we
kind
don't
of
say
got
that
what
now.
we got with
Yeah,
Full
but we're
Love
not
and
talking
Thunder.
about
So
the MCU where you can make those kind of mistakes.
We're
We're
not
talking
talking
about
about
one
Taika
IP at a
Waititi.
time that they were doing, you know. So
MCU's
no,
yeah, but William, they've been always over directors over the 70s. I mean, Francis Ford Coppola had to deal with the studio while making The Godfather. So
yeah, but you have certain people when they reach their director's cut, and then you looked at the director's cut, and some people's the original cuts were the right movie.
Yeah.
So you know, like I said, and then some movies cannot be saved by director's cut. Some movies are just that fucking stupid that you could cut it up any way you want to. You just need to cut certain movies.
Yeah,
up
like
and
every
put them
single
away.
scary movie.
No.
Daredevil. There's no cut of Daredevil that's going to
Come
save
on,
that.
William,
fucking
don't
movie.
say that.
Yeah, come on. I saw the theatrical Daredevil movie, not in theaters, of course, but like just the regular version, and I even enjoyed that movie. That's the closest thing we're ever gonna get to a Batfleck movie.
Wow, that's terms.
Oh,
for
that's so
What?
defeatist. That is so defeatist there, Droga. Come on.
And there are quite a few Batman versus Superman
Spidey, my fellow 5-movie archist. It's like we're not going to be that defeatist.
Yeah, man. I'll either, like I said, William. If I don't get my 5, I'm cool with leaving it at 3 as an unfinished masterpiece.
Oh yeah.
You don't have
also,
to just.
there's a few.
You don't have to
Batman
make a Trinity
v
movie to
Superman.
appease people. That's going to be bad.
There's a few Batman v Superman references in.
Hold on, you guys
in
talking
my
at the same
movie.
time. Say that again.
Especially the opening. What?
Axel, go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, there's a few BVS references in my movie.
Okay.
Okay, and actually,
especially the opening.
That's what I was asking about. Yeah.
And Aaron had an idea here. Axel, when could we use Axel's fan film for AFSB charity stream on Axel's channel? On Axel's channel.
On somebody else's
on Axel's channel. Yeah, we can. Anybody on the screen besides me. Yeah,
you got to come in as a guest, though, William. You got to come in as a guest and promote the AFSP thing. That's the idea.
I guess we have to kick William off.
We can do that. Yeah, it's just as long as it's not on this.
And then Raya is suggesting some multiversal shenanigans.
Yeah, Bad Keaton, DVO came in. Well, we got a little teaser for that at the Oscars.
Set up Droga. Set up.
I wonder if how George Clooney felt. It's like, but he never fought Keaton.
I don't think he was at the Oscars, was he?
No, he was not that I saw. Well, Clooney's been so disparaging of Batman. Clooney's been so disparaging of Batman and Robin.
Clooney's bat career.
Why? He's a better Batman than Robert Pattinson.
Oh, come on, man.
Oh no, I stand by that.
Yeah, Fourth, weren't you asking Droga something?
Oh,
William, weren't you actually excited for Batman and Robin when you first saw it, or no?
I guess not.
If Droga can set a premiere date for his movie.
There you go.
They'll let Fourth hit it up real fast, Choppy.
No, I'm just saying if Droga could set a premiere date for his movie.
On your YouTube and then have us.
But also, I don't want comic book Twitter to like destroy my fan film like they did.
But if they're shitting on a movie that's made for a fan film that's made for charity, they're punching down
Public
twice.
domain.
Yeah, come on.
You know.
Yeah, true. But also, they'll still like how they treated that Superman fan film.
But you got plenty of people in the
especially
fandom
the
that
Spider-Man one.
That know who
a lot
you
of
are,
people
so
like
maybe they'll
that Superman
appreciate
fan film. I mean, just allow people get the attention. But if you're going to go into the public domain, you're going to be in the public. It's just part of that's the risk. That's the risk of opening your doors to anything, whether it's a business or something that you create. I mean, you can't have that kind of fear, or otherwise it's just a private thing that you're doing for you. You know.
No, Ray.
Do you think that I was gonna ask you this, William? Do you think the reason why Batman and Robin failed was because it was trying to be too much like the '60s Batman, or no?
I think Batman and Robin failed because it was a stupid movie.
William, I just want to let you know.
It failed because people couldn't handle the awesomeness.
No, it was a stupid movie.
No,
it was a dumb plot. It was poorly acted. It was horrible. Go ahead, Spidey.
I want to just let you know that in the chat, I got one of the real ones supporting me right now on the Batman Beyond side of the game. Go ahead, Brad. Why don't you pull up our Riot's
Oh, there's
last
5
comment?
of you now. Okay, cool.
Oh, okay.
No, there are 5 of you.
Boom. Hey, William, man, you're a dinosaur, dude. Just take it from the future, dude. Take it from the
Okay,
future. That's
you
where
guys
Batman
are-
Beyond
No, I
takes
see
place,
a
bro.
fan
Hold on.
cast where
You guys hit me up about this Batman Beyond thing. It's not an accident that
Listen,
it hasn't been made yet.
but listen, she's got good
For
taste.
what?
She knows greatness.
Yeah,
you don't
well,
want to take expert.
Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 has not been made yet. That doesn't make it a good decision that it hasn't been made yet.
Right. Listen,
You've
you don't
had
have to take
how
it from
many
me, the
years?
expert. You can take it. You can take it from your average fan in the comment section to let you
We
know
didn't
this is what the
take
people
25 years to get to anything from Zack Snyder.
want.
25 years. Where's this movie been?
Listen, it took
You act
what?
like I'm
we
supposed
went
to
from
keep the
X-Men
lid on it.
93 to X-Men 97 25 years later, right? So it takes time sometimes. We
But
had
you had a
Avatar.
lot of
We had
X-Men
Avatar
being
13
cultivated
years
during
before a
Oh
sequel
my
came out.
god.
We just had
Why-
Top Gun sequel
Where is
47
that?
years. Listen, when Top Gun first came out, you were thinking about running for Congress with your old ass. I'm sorry, that was my worst old
I
joke.
was
I've done.
12, but
yeah.
Okay, but here's the
Yeah.
thing though. Where is your Batman Beyond movie? Where's their talk of the Batman Beyond live action movie? Where's it
Look,
at?
we're talking about it right now, right here
Okay,
in the
well,
streets
that's
of
going-
YouTube.
okay,
And
my
then there was
measly
that huge hype
following,
about that
alright.
Batman Beyond Spider-Verse movie. The
So we're
world
not
fucking
spending any money
stopped
here.
for a second.
I'm not greenlighting or signing any massive $100 billion checks. So where is it at?
Oh, good. Droga's got Ann Sarnoff.
No, it's
inevitable.
man Sanoff.
I mean,
Oh man.
like I said, there's a road to getting a Batman Beyond movie. It's just not
Looks
just
like Neil
wishing it
Patrick
to
Harris.
fruition. You got to actually build the character up into something that
Hey,
people would take a look for.
Azteca's saying what I'm saying in other words. Pull it up, Brad.
Yeah,
We're all like Joker and Batman 89. Hey, Eckhart, look at the future. William.
Wait,
See?
Aaron
Yeah,
Eckhart?
we-
Yeah, think about the
drug out
future.
89 Batman, hoping it would draw people to the theaters. And now that's going.
But if they do get
Well, the
around to
pro-
making Batman Beyond, I don't want them to cast Keaton, Clooney, or no hokey
No.
jokey Batmans. Just
They should
Put
cast
William
Martin
in there.
Scorsese.
Put William in there as old Bruce Wayne. That'll work.
By the way,
someone fan casted Martin Scorsese as old man Bruce Wayne. I'm like,
Yeah. By the way, Droga, I was about to ask a minute ago. I don't know if you touched upon this earlier.
Ryan.
Wow, you know
Good
what?
shit, Ryan.
I was going to ask a minute. What was your? I don't know if you mentioned this earlier. What was your budget on your fan film? All told.
I think like $12 or something.
Oh, okay. So you
Hey,
you came in
don't
under.
be modest, man. It was
Yeah,
at
it
least
was
18.
like it's very, very cheap. Very cheap. Very, very
Okay.
cheap. Yeah.
But you put your heart into it, right, Drogo? So that's
Yeah.
gonna
Oh,
come
yeah,
off better than some
definitely.
of these $100 million flicks where nobody gives a fuck.
Oh yeah,
Daniel
there,
Martin
and look,
says-
there's gonna be some cringe acting, especially from me. Some cringe dialogue. Editing may not be the best.
You can't.
You
You don't downplay
Yeah.
yourself. You try to
Yeah,
sell
man.
it to us.
Yeah,
Don't
don't be
downplay
too
yourself.
hard on yourself.
Yeah,
That's
true.
a thing. That's
Yeah,
a
come on.
Best
You
movie
gotta-
since The Dark Knight.
you gotta-
that's our job.
You got to go in.
You wait till the end to say it, though. That's
Droga,
funny.
you got to go into this confidence. It's not like you made something. You couldn't possibly have made anything worse than Scary Movie.
Or Justice League. Huh?
Yeah.
You're probably better than Justice League. So boom, that's a $250 million movie right there, dude.
Yeah.
Is there any
Yeah,
raid
that's
references in there too?
Yeah. Or yeah.
There is a Zack Snyder reference. There's
Yeah, you mentioned that.
BVS reference. What else is there? There's quite a few references. Oh yeah, Nicotina's in the movie, except his voice is in it only.
Is he like
Yes,
on a TV
Harvey.
as a news guy or something?
No, he's Harvey Bullock.
Okay.
Hey Brad,
Yeah.
What's
would
that?
you ever star in a fan film?
In a fan
Yeah,
film?
like as Nightwing or
I
No,
mean,
it's
Make,
Killer Moth.
we can make
or you could
Raid
be
House.
you could be Roy Harper, worst comic book character ever made in history.
oh, okay. You're
No,
really
that's-
throwing me out there.
I thought. Wait, you mean Peacemaker?
A Peacemaker. I should be Peacemaker. Okay.
No. No, Peacemaker's the worst comic book character.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. He's challenging. Roy Harper.
Brad should be Killer Moth.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I heard him say that earlier in the other stream.
Yeah, William.
They're
should
doing
be
fan
Lucius
casting.
Fox.
What was your William fan cast earlier, Drog? I forget.
Lucius Fox.
Yeah.
Oh, Rhea's got a. Oh, perfect.
Oh,
Brad will be burned, obviously.
Where is that Bane? Where is that Bane?
Yeah, where is this?
Hey,
where is
William,
the-
while you're sitting here simmering, man, I'm seeing 5, 6, 7 people talk about Batman Beyond in the chat, man. I think this is what the people really want. It's bubbling
Nightmare
out of the
Joker.
grassroots. William?
Nightmare Joker roll for Brad.
Yeah,
Take
okay.
a
When it
seat,
bubbles
Brad.
out,
Why, baby?
beyond this channel, and it's had a quarter of a century to do so.
Yes, well, I do appreciate the phone casting there, Ray. As I was born in
All right, Brad, we get it. Travis crazy.
Okay, now I will be Brad.
I can see we're nearing the end of the show.
But it was nothing to me but blinding.
But Axel has your thing. Now start doing the voice, Fourth. Axel's got the picture.
Watch
You
the
do the voice.
raid.
Wait.
Now I'm the superior Bane.
Well, hey,
When are we gonna get off the scary
we are 2 minutes away from midnight, and if everybody has gotten all the nonsense off their chest, then I think
Oh yeah, watch my
Think
fan
it's
film, by the way. It's actually really
William
do,
is
we'll
the
do.
fun police.
He's probably gonna like take my picture there and like plug it into his next fan film somehow.
Oh yeah.
Hey, William. So the moral
actually,
of the story
I
at the
might
end of the
Photoshop it into Lobo. Or something.
Okay, I've always wanted, yeah.
so the moral of the story was
I'd be the
Doc-
perfect Lobo, obviously.
Yeah,
Dr.
More of the
Dre the
story.
Chronic,
next to Danny Trejo. Yes.
the Warner, excuse me, what is it called again? The magazine.
you got to start over.
The magazine was
Warren Press, yeah, Warren Comics.
Warren Press, Dr. Dre, Roadhouse, and the moral of the story is Batman Beyond is what the people want. Try, everybody, try.
We gotta watch
The people. Who are the people though?
Everybody in your
man.
chat, man, your adoring fans. The
Okay,
people
so
that
let's
are
take
subscribing
everybody
to
in
your
the chat
trolls.
times a million, 20 million, or whatever you need to do.
None shall interfere. Do as you please.
But why hasn't it happened yet though? Spidey?
Because people people are out here like you, just talking that nonsense outside of their ass, and they got a job. And
But
they
the
got a
demand,
job doing it.
the
and that's what
demand was there
happens,
for something like this. It would have happened already.
Listen, you're saying why didn't they do it, but then you will in the same breath talk about Ann Sarnoff and Kevin Tsuchihara. Like there's bad decision makers.
Man,
You've had different sets of people though. This is not just a localized thing. You've
I'm
had
saying you
literally
get
25
William,
years.
I mean,
you get somebody like Fourth 1000 and Brad the Scargiver, and you put them on the top of WB. We have a Batman Beyond movie in no time. I'm
Yeah.
talking about
And you're
this,
probably
man.
getting
but do
fired
you
too.
think that way?
Well,
They're not getting
Sarnoff.
fired. They're taking that Spider-Verse, that whole Spider-Verse audience before it even happened.
Okay,
So they would have had that.
no
They would have had
comparison, and
that
I
movie out in
explained why-
2015.
no
That movie would have came out
comparison.
coinciding with Batman at BVS, and it wouldn't even been in the same
Okay,
universe. It would just been
what
its
have I
own
always said about the Spider-Verse and Miles Morales? They did the work
You hate him.
to build the character up before it made it marketable. If they do that with Batman Beyond, then yes. Like I said,
I
there's
feel
a
like you
road
just
to
don't
that.
like the last name McGinnis. There's like a personal bias there.
Yeah, that's what.
I mean, like I said,
Yes.
if you took that blueprint that they did when they started publishing Miles Morales and they started taking to other mediums, if you spend the time to do the work to do that, you could
Hey,
get
Ryan says, why talk about it? Why don't you just put the poll in the chat right now and see what the poll says?
Oh yeah, because we've done
the
polls.
poll up.
Oh, we've done
But-
polls
oh,
before
okay.
that
Yeah, Marty
I
says
didn't
poll,
benefit from.
William already has a script for it.
poll. Do it.
Okay.
Put the poll up. Let's
And
get the
yeah,
poll.
you know what? There's another button I want to hit. In stream. How about?
Nah, you get engagement.
no, hey,
don't you
we
get
did a
engagement
poll.
points for the poll anyway? Doesn't that help your numbers to put a
We
poll
did,
up?
yeah,
No.
we did a poll the other night that probably cost me 5 years of my life. So I think it's only
so
fair
let's
that
do
we.
a William poll. Yeah. See, Brad's got a little chip on his shoulder. Let's go with that.
Okay, great. It could be 100-0.
Hey,
It's
listen,
probably-
William. Listen,
got
Ryan's saying
100
everything
years.
that's on my heart right now. She's saying William don't want to see the
Fine,
results.
fine.
Just like Bell called you out on your bet. You don't want to bet on this Jake Paul
Oh yeah,
fight.
I don't want to bet on.
It's all
my
yapping,
live
William.
stream
It's all
in
yapping.
Vegas.
I'm
Yeah.
facting, you're yapping. Facting versus
Yeah.
yapping.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's illegal as fuck, by the way, for me to do.
I offered to place a
Yeah,
bet.
You got
on the-
Vegas
on
money,
the
dude.
Tyson fight.
Yeah, and it's regulated as hell. Like here, I mean, you can't bet on two chickens racing without it being regulated out
We
here.
could bet.
I'm
We
pretty
could
sure
bet
doing it on
YouTube
YouTube.
subscribers. We could bet
Digital
YouTube. We could bet likes. I bet you 5 likes. All right, we could do it that way, right?
All right, apparently it's getting late. So
What do you mean?
Is this poll
apparently?
coming or is this poll coming? I think the people.
What do you
want it.
mean? Apparently, it's getting late. Either there is or it isn't.
Oh, it is actually getting late. But
yeah. All right, guys. I think it was always a good time to wrap this up, but now I think it's really good time to wrap this up. I'm gonna go around the horn, and not that I care, but hey, Brad, where can they find you?
you guys can find me on Twitter and Vero, and someone on Facebook. You can check out all my writing on a lot of the topics we discuss here, and of course, you can find me here on the Sci-Fi Center, whether it's breaking down the topics of the day, like Roadhouse or whatever's upcoming in the kind of the nerd world, and I guess also trying to break down the essence of Tra.
See, Brad's starting to pick up on it.
Drogo, look at Drogo.
It's just man. He's laughing. There are so many man variants on the Arkham subreddit. Holy shit!
Spider-Man. I'm just going through the motions. We're
right.
Find you?
So you can find me fighting crime and arguing with William about Batman in these YouTube streets. You know what I mean? Spidey
When are
out.
we
Try,
gonna get
everybody.
that Batman animated series with William? I still want to hear his rant about it.
What? That series is amazing. The theme song. Spider-Man.
He likes Spider-Man. He just doesn't like Batman. He likes Superman and Spider-Man just fine. He just doesn't like Batman.
That series is amazing. You have to watch it, William. Oh wait.
You seen it?
Put the poll up. Come on, William. Put the poll up.
Of opening the chat over.
What was the song though? Drogo had a theme song for when it popped up.
Man.
All right, that's a wrap. I will see you
Try,
guys
everyone.
tomorrow.
You can find me here.
Yeah,
on
You
the
can
Sci-Fi
find
Center.
me at
Fuck. No, I'm just saying. Go ahead.
You can find me on the Sci-Fi Center having a Bane off with Brad.
There you go.
That sounds like something perverted.
That's it. Yeah, I'm gonna walk that back because I don't even want to know what that's.
You want to bane me off?
Y'all are over there in the corner banning off. You know what I mean?
I don't
I'm
know.
baining off.
Wanna bane me off?
I'm your father.
And you can also find me on Instagram, and that's pretty much where I
right,
post
so-
most of my stuff.
I'll bane you off, Brad.
I'll be editing this like this last hour out anyway. So
Okay, you can find me at Droga52 on YouTube. You can find me on the Sci-Fi Center trolling. You can find me on Twitter via Axel R Droga. And yeah, I'm done.
Chappie.
Okay.
Okay,
You already
got.
What?
You already
What
queued
the?
up? All
I
right.
think Chappie already went. Yeah.
All right. Wait, fourth. All right. Good. That's it. All right. It's over.
All right, try everyone.
I will.
Hey,
see you,
988. Put the 988 of stuff. You didn't put the stuff up. You always skip that when you got us on the
'cause
panel.
I'm trying to get as far away. No, I'm just saying.
Do it in Bane
There
voice.
you go. 988 Crisis Suicide. We kind of didn't raise any money today, which kind of was a downer. But
Because
hey,
you had a bad attitude, William. Otherwise, we would have been.
No, they didn't raise any money because they want to make sure that I don't get us off of the Meet the Spartans train.
yeah, we
Oh, I
watched two
love
quality
Meet the
movies.
Spartans.
Didn't
It's
wait
amazing.
$1. So what? So we'll salvage this by hey, you know what? If you need it, use it. 988 Suicide Inc. Crisis Lifeline. We
What's
will
the-
be doing it. What?
What's the movie next week? What are the movies we're watching?
Movie next week is Meet the Spartans.
Okay, are we
doing?
doing
that
a
I-
real
yeah,
movie with
I'm
that, or
watching it.
are we doing
That I
like
don't
a
have
cool movie
problem
too, or no?
watching.
I
I mean,
may
I
do
know it's going to be
Beekeeper. I
crap,
may do
but I'll
Beekeeper
watch it
next week.
anyway for
Okay,
Brad.
okay.
I'll do this for you, man.
I heard you,
Yeah.
William. I got you. Beekeeper.
All right,
Got it.
yeah. All right, that's it.
All right.
This is
Fair
supposed to
be
be-
square, Brad.
Later.